everybody. Welcome to the 2-year anniversary special of the Debate Mates.
Woo!
Today is October 9th, and 2 years ago today, Nathan and I recorded the first ever Debate Mates. Nathan, real quick trivia. What was the first topic we ever talked about? I remember. Do you remember?
We talked ahead of time. It's a gotcha. It's a gotcha.
I'll be honest, Matthew. I have no idea.
It was when Kyrie Irving said he was going to re-sign with Boston.
Oh, yay. Oh, wow.
What a...
God, how much has changed in 2 years?
So, we got the whole crew here today. Basically, everybody that has ever been a debate mate. Coach Z, me, Nate, Jack, and Stretch. Without further ado, Coach Z is going to explain what we're going to do today. We got something fun planned for you. A real NBA debate. Coach Z, take it away.
Okay, so good afternoon from the great state of Virginia, which was ranked 13th overall in happiness. Welcome, Debate Mate family, to our second anniversary episode. I'm Coach Z. You may know me from USA Today. I post a lot of columns in digital and in print. I like to take these candidates. You guys have a little 5 seconds to introduce yourselves. Stretch, you want to say anything?
Coach Stretch, president and owner of Tribe Nation Basketball Academy. I've been rocking with Debate Mates for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Year and a half Debate Mater.
All right, Jack, what do you got?
Jack Cashwell, high school student. That's about it.
That's right, I love that resume. All right, Nate Dogg, what do you got for us?
Nathan, college student and OG Debate Mates founder. Was good.
OG,
There
triple
you
OG,
go.
Brenda
Triple
Bottom,
OG.
CJ, Grove Street. Sorry. That's a throwback. PlayStation 2, guys. It's a smaller console. Swanee?
Matthew Swanberg, aka Swanee, co-founder of the Debate Mates, and Coach Z's favorite runner for the Metro Cross Country team.
That's right, put it on record. So the way this debate's gonna work, we're gonna have 3 rounds just to get them warmed up. Non-point bearing the first round. I'm gonna ask them a series of questions. Everybody will go. Really, I want you to tap into your gut instinct. There's times where you have to think about something, but like the game of basketball, sometimes you just gotta go instinctually. So you go with that answer that hits you here first. Don't think too much about it. Round 2, we're gonna break these guys up into pairs. They're gonna debate against each other. The people not debating will then vote on who they think is the best. We'll score points for that round. Third round, we'll break them up in teams, and then we'll ask them a series of questions for all of them to answer to determine who will be the ultimate human/genius. All right. You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So this is timed. I'm gonna call out your name. You give me what you got. So we got game predictions tonight. NBA Finals Game 5. Stretch, who you got?
The Lakers.
Swanee.
Heat.
Nate.
I got Lakers.
Jack.
Heat.
Okay, for the people that said the Heat. So who's the Heat? We have Swanee and
And me.
Jack. Yeah.
Jack. Final series prediction. So you guys said Heat today. Do you think the Heat are gonna win?
No.
Okay, so we have 2
I'm
no's.
changing my tune. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, for the people that said Lakers are gonna win, so we have Nate and we have Stretch.
Yep.
Who's gonna be the highest scorer of today's game?
AD.
It's going to be Anthony Davis. Maybe LeBron, but I feel like Anthony Davis has played a little bit better in the playoffs. So.
Oh, I like that. So the number 1 and 2 scoring players on the Lakers, you go with both of them. Great name. Anthony Davis or LeBron. What about Caldwell Pope?
Nah.
Any love for
You mean Caldwell Pope?
It gave you about
Serious
15.
Caldwell Poop.
Yeah, he's Caldwell Poop, man. I don't
You
know.
guys see last game?
Yeah, it gave you about 15.
Yeah, he's strong, man.
Strong.
Okay, Finals MVP for all of you. So let's go with Jack. Who's going to be the Finals MVP when the Lakers win?
LeBron.
Okay. Nate?
Anthony Davis.
Ooh, Swanee.
LeBron.
Stretch.
LeBron.
Yeah. And I think you guys know Las Vegas also predicts LeBron. We'll talk about role players. You can't win it by yourself. I think we've known most championships. Every team has had at least 2 Hall of Famers, 2 superstars. Who do you think is the most valuable role player on the Lakers?
KCP.
All right, Stretch, KCP. Swanee?
I'm going to go with the Caruso. Alex Caruso.
Oh, the GOAT, a.k.a. the GOAT. Nate?
I think I'm going to go for a controversial one. I think I'd like to play Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard in that starting lineup. Yeah, and Jack,
I'm
who
gonna
do
say
you have?
Dwight as well.
Dwight, okay, cool. The best defensive player in the series. If you guys all say the Lakers are going to win the whole thing for the finals, who would your best defensive player be? Swanee.
Anthony Davis.
Okay. Nate.
Anthony Davis.
All right. Jack.
AD.
Davis is going.
Wow. And Stretch.
AD.
AD. Okay. One word to describe the NBA season. Nate.
Fascinating.
Jack.
It's been something.
Wild.
Stretch.
Unpredictable.
And Swanee.
Crazy.
Okay, awesome. Alright, so we're gonna do some trivia. This is gonna be right, correct, or incorrect.
Okay.
Alright.
That's a knockout round here.
Alright.
Alright.
And this is how we decide who the first debaters are.
Yeah, this is how we decide.
Alright.
Alright, Swanee starts with you. Who invented basketball?
Dr. James Naismith in
Good stuff.
Canada.
There you go.
Okay.
Shout out to the Canadian debate mates viewers.
Nate, original basketball hoops were made out of what?
Oh, that's peach baskets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, who's the best player of all time?
Michael Jordan.
Absolutely, good job. We're gonna have to do rock, paper, scissors. Coach Stretch, who's taller, me or Alex Caruso?
How tall are you?
6'4".
You guys are the same height.
Technically, he's 6'5".
Yeah, right.
That is crazy.
He's
That was shoes
He's
on.
6'5".
His name is collect Alex
Caruso's taller than me.
No way.
Caruso is
Tiny.
6'5".
No way.
That's what it
Big.
says.
It's a
You
big
know,
bucket.
No way.
yeah,
Maybe it's just
those
because I see him next to AD, and I'm like, that man's 6'5".
No way.
Seriously?
I know, he looks tiny on the court.
Right.
I know, he looks tiny, but that
No
shows you
way.
how
What the
big
man?
Oh,
everybody
they are
is.
huge though.
They're
They are
huge. In real life,
They
they're
are
huge.
huge, man.
Steph Curry looks like a baby. I look
He's
Steph
6'3",
Curry
man.
right into the windows
Yeah.
of his soul.
Yeah.
He's as tall as me.
Yeah.
Does he look tiny on the
Yeah.
court?
It looks small.
Okay, that's all I have. That's it. That's it. You guys warm
Come
up?
on, you ain't got
ready
one
to
for
go?
Jack? You got the best player of all time, man?
Okay, who's
man.
made more of an impact? Udonis Haslem or Andre Iguodala? Sorry.
Is that even a question?
Sorry, Haslem was he hasn't played a minute.
Oh,
He's on the Heat right now. That 40-year-old man is on
Yo,
the Heat.
he's on the Heat.
He's
on the
collecting a
roster
ring,
right now.
man.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, you guys want to go rock, paper, scissors to determine who goes first?
Alright.
Sure.
So, how are we
I thought you were picking.
Okay, yeah, I can pick.
Yeah.
Let's go Stretch and Swanee.
Yeah.
Alright, me too.
You want to
Okay.
smoke first, man.
Do you want to pick the answers out of the bowl, or you just want me to say each? One person can choose one.
You can just give us, you can assign them, I guess.
All right, here we go. We're going random then. Okay, so round 2, you guys are voting. So I'll serve as a tiebreaker. So first question we have, round 2. We got a lot of Paul George trade rumors.
Right.
A lot going on with Paul George. Which team should trade for him? Or do you think he will stay on the Clippers? We have staying on the Clippers, or we have Lakers, Nets, and Knicks that are rumored to try to get his services. Stretch, you're first. You can choose either.
I believe the Nets should go all in and go get him. Go and put a nice little 3-headed monster in Brooklyn. Kyrie, KD, and Paul George is good enough to get out of the East. And you know, you only giving up LeVert, Dinwiddie. Like I'll take that. I'll take that bet.
Okay. Swanee, you have Lakers, Nets, or sorry, you have Clippers, Lakers, or Knicks.
I'll go with the other New York team. I'll go with the Knicks because they have nothing to lose at this point. The Clippers could use some youth. They are really gonna struggle if Kawhi decides to leave after this season. What else could the Knicks do? I mean, that's really my argument. You can't go wrong. They can't fail.
Okay. Nate, Jack, who do you think won that one? What do you guys think?
I think I'm sorry. I'm personally gonna go. I like Stretch's.
I'm going
argument
with
a little
Stretch's
bit
more. I think
better. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm
Because
sorry.
everyone always says the Knicks.
I'm sorry,
they
but
win
like
nothing.
my thing is like, who are the Knicks gonna trade?
Never gonna happen.
Who are the Knicks gonna trade? Julius Randle? Like, what assets do they have besides maybe him? And if you wanted to make an argument for Dennis Smith Jr., whoever.
No one wants
that-
to take.
Yeah,
no
like
one wants
nobody.
to take the contracts they've got with those guys either.
Yeah,
Because they gotta pay somebody.
Yeah,
The
so
Knicks are a dumpster fire, man. Like,
they're in the worst situation in the NBA.
Ever.
Maybe the Pistons
They're
are
gonna
close
have to
second, but
draft
like
their way into being better.
And they
The
got
issue is they
ultimate bad
draft
luck,
bad.
8th pick in the
If
draft.
I were
That's
first debater,
horrible.
I would have won. I just want to throw that out there.
But what about Clippers? Neither one of you think he'll stay on the Clippers, or did he wear
I
his
think-
welcome with
Not,
the
it's
playoff
not as
performance?
interesting to say the Clippers.
I just think it's just, you know, whoever their coaches get, whoever they get as a coach is going to have to do a culture change. You know what I'm saying? So,
And let me say, I don't think he
It's-
will get traded. I'm
Yeah.
just saying if he were to get traded.
yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so we go Stretch and Nate now. You're up. We have Buddy Hield trade rumors. Kind of dissatisfied with Sacramento. Which team do you think would trade for him, or do you really believe he'll be on the Kings next season? Let's go with Nate first. You have Kings, or you could choose 76ers, Bulls, Celtics, or you can throw out somebody else.
Well, I'm gonna start off. I definitely think he's gone because I mean, once you start ghosting your coach and not answering calls or texts and won't even talk to him. That's a relationship that's so strained that it's not gonna be repaired. So I think the most sense would be the 76ers because they got rid of JJ. My biggest fault with the Sixers, they got rid of JJ Redick, and that was their shooting. And so this was a very limited shooting team on the perimeter. Outside of like Furkan Korkmaz, I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
Furkan, other than that, and maybe like every once in a while I see Matisse Thybulle, but he's more of a defensive threat. So the Sixers make the most sense to me. They need some shooting if they want to try to make at least the conference finals next year if they're trying to.
Okay. All right, and Stretch, defend your court. Who do you got? You have Bulls, Celtics, stay with the Kings. Or throw something else out there. Is he going to China?
Well, I think he's definitely out of the Kings. Like, he's definitely out of there. I would have went with 76ers. 76ers is a great answer.
Well, that's a really bad way to start your argument.
However, for the sake of the debate, I will say that the Celtics move on from one of their young studs and bring Buddy Hield in. So I think they actually will move Jaylen Brown with Gordon Hayward, sending them to Sacramento, and we have Buddy Hield and the Tatum Show in Boston, which will be a great conference finals against the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. All right. Jack, Swanee, what do you think? We got Nate and Stretch.
I mean, Stretch conceded from the start
I
that
think
they won.
I think Nate's on
It's
the
Nate.
better.
I mean, that's the way to go.
No
I mean,
one in their right mind is trading Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward.
I'm not. As a
Why
Celtics
not?
fan,
You
as a
gotta get rid
Celtics
of
fan,
one
it's
of them.
not.
Why not?
Why do you have to get rid of one of them?
You can't win with both of them.
Well, not yet. It was their third.
That's not the
Why not trade
I'm
Hayward
trading-
and some other
I'm
role
trading
players?
Hayward and
I
some
think
picks.
Jaylen Brown should be untouchable.
Hayward, some
So.
picks, and maybe like Carson Edwards for like a Miles Turner or Steven Adams. We need a center who can get rebounds and blocks. We need somebody.
You had a center.
You
You
had Al Horford.
Yeah, but like.
had a center, and you got rid of him.
Yeah, but Al Horford, he's Asian. I'm mad that he left. Like
So,
he was nice in that
so
Celtics
for me,
I mean-
you know, the 76ers is a great pick, but who you getting rid of? Like, you're not gonna get Buddy Hield for free. Like, who you gonna get rid of?
You're probably gonna have to get rid of somebody like.
Embiid or Simmons, one or the other.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris,
Yeah.
possibly.
You
Buddy
got-
Hield is not
For
worth
Buddy
that
Hield-
much.
That's why I picked the
Harris.
76ers.
But his
You know,
contract is huge.
But
contract
so is
huge.
Buddy Hield is around the same as Jaylen Brown. It's
Well, he
still
hasn't
100
signed his
mil.
extension.
See, thank you.
I mean, if we're talking,
Thank you.
Hey.
That's why you gotta get rid of one.
it's
of the
similar, but
studs.
Browns is like 15 mil less.
Yeah.
Just like every little
You
thing.
gotta get rid of one of the studs. You have to.
That's true. That's very true. So we're gonna go with Nate then on that one. I
Good
wish
job,
you
Nate.
brought that into your argument when it was your turn. You saving the heat for later.
Woo!
You smile.
At the buzzer,
Wow,
baby.
spicy right now.
Let's throw a little something in there.
All right, so Nate, you're gonna go against Jack. Jack, I'm gonna let you go first. We're gonna go to Gordon Hayward. His name got brought up. It always seems to me like, man, we can only wish to see if he was like healthy, what the Celtics would be like. It seems like he's always coming back from injury towards the end. You never really know if he's in full shape. So if he would be traded, who do you think, what team should trade for him, or do you think he'll stay with the Celtics? You got Pacers, Lakers, Spurs, all rumored to maybe vie for Gordon Hayward's services or stay with the Celtics.
I'm gonna be honest. I think the Pacers should take him because they need someone to fill that 2-guard spot. Victor Oladipo has not been the same. I think his trade value is going to be down. I think him for Gordon Hayward would be a decent trade. I think that kind of benefits both teams because Gordon Hayward, they've got so many players on the Celtics team that fill kind of the same role. I feel like they've got so many kind of shooting guard, small forward players. So when you got someone like Victor Oladipo, who I think could run the point possibly, I think that'd be good depth for both teams.
Okay. And then Nate, what do you got?
As much as I would love to ship out Hayward at this point for like a Miles Turner or an Oladipo, like he's gonna stay with the Celtics. He's kind of like a question mark. He's constantly getting injured and he's not producing the same. Like he'll show you bits of greatness and then he'll get injured again. It's just I don't think that the Pacers in their right mind are like, oh, we're gonna give up one of our like 2 big stars or like somebody like a Sabonis, a Turner for somebody like Gordon Hayward who's like in his 30s I believe now and it's still a huge question mark. So I think I would love to ship him out for some better players, but it honestly would make sense if he stayed right where he was.
Okay. Stretch. Swanee, what do you think? Who do you think has that one?
I think Nate's coming back to debate a third time in a row.
Yeah.
All right, Nate with the 2 in a row. Here we
I did
go.
like the tech man's answer though. I did like his answer.
Your answer was awesome, but like if
I did like
it
his
can
answer.
happen, I mean.
Yeah, I did like his answer.
All right, so that
I don't
leads
think they
us
will give it
to we got Nate 2 in a row here against Swanee. We're gonna
Go
talk
Swanee.
about the implosion or the explosion of the Clippers. So if everybody's leaving, Montrezl Harrell is gonna be a free agent. Who do you think he should join? Clippers, stick with the Clippers, or is he going Knicks, Mavs, or Hornets? We'll let Swanee get first crack.
I mean, I wrote down those names, but I'm gonna throw in a different one.
Yeah,
Go for it. First throw in.
I'm going Toronto Raptors because
Ooh.
Serge Ibaka might be on his way out. Marc Gasol aging, and he's going to play in Spain.
Yeah.
He wants to finish his career there.
Okay.
Montrezl Harrell, after how badly he played in the postseason, his size was really exposed.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can maybe get him for a little bit cheaper than teams were expecting. Toronto has a great team. They're going to be pretty good next year, it looks like. And Van Fleet might want too much. You're going to have to give the money somewhere. So I can see Montrezl Harrell fitting in with the Raptors.
Okay. All right, Nate.
All right.
Find your crown.
Good luck.
Okay. Oh wow. I honestly thinking about this. I think I'm gonna throw in another name. I think I'm gonna throw in. If this team is gonna embrace the small ball, he should go to the Houston Rockets.
Ooh.
If we're gonna embrace that small ball lineup, he's only about, I believe, about 6'9". I mean, they don't really. Their center was PJ Tucker at 6'5", and sometimes I guess they throw in Tyson Chandler, who's like 37, way out, should be out of the league.
May
at this
I
point,
throw
sorry.
a rebuttal?
Yes.
He can't shoot threes, and he can't switch.
Who, Montrezl Harrell?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's the death of a Houston.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not biased. I'm moderator here.
Yeah. Yeah, they play 5-man switch. You know what I'm saying? And they already seen the show with Capella. Capella was like 6'10".
Yeah.
Does the same thing Montrezl Harrell does. That's why they got
Arguably a better perimeter defender, too.
Yeah. And they got
He's
rid
gonna
of-
throw in that charismatic defense in there. That's why I like Montrezl Harrell. He talk a lot. He talk a lot. But like, hey, man. I mean, sometimes sometimes if I like people talking.
It was good
talking
while
like
lasted. It was good
that.
while
All
lasted.
right, fine.
Hey, the votes haven't happened yet.
Hey man, you're making me want to vote for Nate.
Yo, somebody knock him off his high horse.
All right,
I'm gonna need somebody.
Jack and Stretch, what do you guys think?
I gotta go with Matthew on this one.
We're going Swanee. Matty Ice.
Hey.
Who's next? Stretcher Cash? Knock him off his high horse.
Let's see.
Please take it.
Okay, so we're gonna go, since Stretch, you had 2 cracks, Jack, you've only had 1 so far. We'll go Swanee versus Jack for this one. Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, Timberwolves, apparently unhappy. Which team should trade for him, or will he remain with the Timberwolves? Jack, you're up first. You want me to give you Knicks, Bulls, Suns?
Realistically, I think he's sticking with the T-Wolves. Not because he wants to be there, and not even necessarily because the organization wants him there, but because I don't think that many other teams would be interested in him. Here's why. 2017, or maybe it was 2018, all right? Let's rewind a bit. The Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, and Cat team that you had, that everyone hyped up so much.
Yeah.
They got nowhere, and we figured out it was because Jimmy Butler was the only one working hard. He was beating them with the third string, right? Now that we're seeing Jimmy's success in Miami being so much more than what anyone else predicted, people are going to realize that he was the weak link there. People are going to finally, it's really going to set in, people are going to realize he and Andrew Wiggins were the weak link there. No one wants him. Same reason no one else wants Andrew Wiggins right now.
Nobody wants Andrew Wiggins. What about Golden State?
Golden State, he might have been their best option last year. They were trying to win 10 games.
Is he even that good, that third option for scoring? He reminds me of like a rich man's Harrison Barnes, no?
He's a poor man's Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes.
Oh, okay. All right, Swanee, what do you got?
I'm going to go off the board again. I'm going with it might have actually been included. I'm going with the Sacramento Kings.
Okay.
Because their centers, whether it be Marvin Bagley, who they drafted, Harry Giles, who I bet you didn't even know played for the Kings anymore, they are so injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
Every good point guard needs a good center. De'Aaron Fox and Karl Anthony Towns would be thrown in there immediately, and the top young duos in the league.
Okay.
The Kings seem to be a team that prides themselves on fast offense. Karl Anthony Towns is not going to play a whole lot of defense, so he kind of fits in that offensive, let's go score 130 points a game type of mold. And Buddy Hield, we already said he's maybe on the move. Maybe get a shooter for D'Angelo Russell to play with.
Can I have a quick rebuttal?
Yeah,
All right, you talk about them playing hard and fast, they go quick. What starts a fast break is getting a stop. And if Cat can't play defense, they're not going to have as many opportunities on the fast break. That coupled with the fact that what you want in the point guard and center is a good pick and roll game. Karl Anthony Towns, increasingly every season, stays on the perimeter and shoots threes. He's not a pick and roll player.
Well, if they're going to score 130 points a game, they're going to need a lot of three-point shooters. And you've seen the Lakers do it against
So
the
that
Heat
ruins the
countless.
point guard center dynamic.
The Heat countless times, or the Lakers countless times in the finals have gotten the ball off a free throw and thrown it up the court for a fast break. I think that's a type of play that we're going to see a lot of teams incorporate. Teams don't get back on defense like they would have a couple years ago.
All right.
Okay, so we can all just agree the NBA was better in the pass. Bigger,
Yes,
faster,
100%.
more defense.
Right.
All right, Nate, Stretch, who do you have?
I
We got
I'll
Swan
start-
with the Canes, Jack staying with the Timberwolves threat.
I got Jack.
I got the tech man. Like,
Yes.
I
Tech
don't,
man
I don't
make
think
it
nobody's
hard.
really going to go that hard for Cat. Like,
Plus,
his
like,
defense is
We
really,
also talk about
really
something.
good.
If Cat decides that Cat better not leave because D'Lo just got there.
Right.
And that's gonna be sad.
They're friends. They've been trying to
and
say
also,
him and Booker
If
and
we're
Cat.
trading Cat to the Kings, how do you think Buddy Hield and D'Lo?
Well,
are
the next thing I was gonna
They-
say-
he'd have to be included. So like,
Before I said I was going through two teams. The second one I was gonna say was the Suns
I like the Suns.
because again the friend
With him
But
and
they
D'Lo
already
like
have
the
that.
eight, because they
Yeah.
went 8-0 and they
Yeah.
look pretty good.
I think they're going to run it back. Like,
Yeah.
really try to run it back.
Okay. All right, so Jack, you move on to the next
This
round.
is not my
Jack,
fault,
you're
this
gonna
one.
go up against Stretch for this
Oh,
one.
wow, they're gonna
Stretch, you're
win.
gonna have first crack. So.
All right.
I mean, I've seen the 76ers, and it seems like the last few years they were giving away picks or giving away players for picks, giving away players for picks. They finally had an opportunity to draft some. You get Embiid, you get Ben Simmons. This is going to turn the tide. But even with those players, they still haven't turned that corner of being a
Right.
winning franchise. So the Sixers have kind of informally stated they're willing to trade anybody to build a contender.
Mm-hmm.
If they had to choose Embiid or Simmons to get rid of, who stays? Who do they build around?
Simmons.
Okay, and why?
He's a point guard, and he's the biggest, most versatile player that you have. Embiid, I'm not even going to bring up his previous injuries. However, I will bring up the fact that he never gets in shape. Him not getting in shape, which probably leads to a lot of his injuries. And let's talk about his off the court, semantics, or his off the court what's the word?
Extracurriculars.
Extracurricular activities
I
are
think I gotta run for your
not
mind.
professional
Yeah.
enough for Doc Rivers. I know for a fact. So Doc Rivers is a hard nosed kind of guy, and he's going to demand a lot out of his players. Simmons kind of fits the build. He's young enough; he can mold around him. You can mold him into whatever he wants, and you can bring in players that want to play for Ben Simmons. He loves to pass the basketball. So I think Doc's going to get a jump shot into Ben, and we're going to see Embiid leave before the All-Star break.
Okay. And Jack, that leaves you with defending Embiid to build around
All
their
right.
franchise.
Good,
Why?
good.
Absolutely. Embiid is the better player. Ben Simmons was out all playoffs. He was talking about Embiid being injury prone. Embiid was injury prone in his first season or two. He's been more or less healthy the past few seasons. He's been kind of getting into his prime. Ben Simmons, every year people are saying this is going to be the year he's going to get a jump shot and finally take that step from being a really, really good player to being an elite player. But he never does it. I think a lot of people, including myself, are losing faith in Ben Simmons at this point because he's this
Man.
16-8-8 player every single year, but he's never taken that leap to be like an all-star starter or a first or second team type player. Embiid consistently has been. That's why I think they got to keep Embiid. Simply, he's the better player.
All right, Stretch, you got a rebuttal.
Oh,
15
yeah.
seconds.
Here's like
Ben Simmons probably should have won Defensive Player of the Year if he doesn't get hurt in the bubble. Like, he was trending to that over Giannis. Like, that's the reason Giannis even got it, is because Ben Simmons dislocated his kneecap, which is a freak injury. And to be honest, we've seen a dislocated kneecap with Patrick Mahomes in the NFL. He probably could have came back. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest, he probably could have came back. But the dynamic between Simmons and Embiid is a losing dynamic. You have to get rid of it. The NBA is fast. We want to get the ball up the floor quickly, and we want to shoot a lot of threes. Simmons will get the ball up quick and kick out to shooters, and that is what you're going to see next year.
Can I throw in the double fact check?
Yeah.
Stretch. The Orlando games didn't count for awards, so Simmons, he was out.
No, that's
Shaq.
it.
Embiid didn't make a single All-NBA team this year.
No, this year, I'm saying in general, he consistently does.
And I have one thing. Do you think that Embiid watching Jokic this playoffs, and it's kind of everybody agrees that Jokic is better at this point. He got into shape and became better. I would have agreed with you, Stretch, but does Embiid see that and say, wow,
No.
I got to pick it up?
I don't think he says that at all, because and still in Embiid's mind, he thinks he's better than Jokic.
Probably, yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like, he's that cocky that he thinks he's still better than Jokic. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jokic clearly showed that he's a top 10 guy this year, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Embiid sitting there eating cheeseburgers and what have you.
Dancing at concerts. when he's
Yeah, and
injured
there's that
and not
concept.
playing.
You see what I'm saying?
Like,
Like,
with Riri on Twitter.
right. You see what I'm saying? That's not a top 10 guy. That's not what they do.
Right.
Ben Simmons, quiet. he's going to work on his game with Doc Rivers. Like Doc Rivers is going to make him work on his
I
game.
don't
Gonna make him develop.
I don't
shot.
think
Rondo
so.
may have a jump
Doc
shot
Rivers
either.
is
He's dating a Jenner. That's bad luck.
You're right. He's right.
That's true. Very
Every
good.
player.
Statistically,
That's
yeah.
true though. Like if Rondo can develop a jump shot, then Ben Simmons can develop a jump shot. Like,
And maybe it's just a confidence piece too, because a lot of people need a jump shot in their game. You see,
Yeah.
with
he
like
needs to take
Giannis,
them. He was
you
taking
see
a
with
leap
Jimmy
forward,
Butler.
taking him. He needs to take more. I want to see
He
him
just-
take at least 3 a game.
I
3
think he
threes a
can
game.
shoot them.
Three threes a game.
At least
Yeah.
Steph?
no, 3 threes a game is not stuff. I just
No, that's
it's,
regular.
it's
Yeah.
enough for an improvement.
Three.
Even if he misses all 3, I'm glad to see him taking steps to
Yeah.
at least attempt. If you don't attempt whatsoever, then it's never going to get any better.
People have been saying it since his rookie year. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, and I
Things
just
don't happen, man.
it's a confidence piece. I think I know as a player too, you can do it all your entire life in summer, in
Yeah.
preseason,
And then you get
but
to
when
the
the
game.
game's on the
Yeah.
line, the season goes down. Do you take that 3 when it matters? The
Right.
Lakers gave Jimmy Butler any 3 he wanted last year.
And he wouldn't take it.
He wouldn't take it because
Right.
he doesn't think he can score.
That's what they
three.
did. That's what they did in the
Slash it.
playoffs to the 76ers. Ben Simmons was one of the biggest reasons that they
Yeah.
failed in the postseason because teams will just clog the paint. There's nothing he can do.
That's also
You
coaching.
can't leave him beat open.
Yeah,
like
That's
that.
also coaching.
Because I think a follow-up question I had for you, Coach, is like, you know how impactful a coach is to a player's development.
Right.
Do you think the pedigree of Doc Rivers could change the personality of Embiid, or once you're stuck in that pattern behavior, he can't take the next level with a coach like
Well, this is why I picked Simmons, because I think he's mentally able to receive that information from Doc Rivers. Embiid already thinks he's arrived. You know what I'm saying? He thinks he's one of those guys that doesn't have to take instruction from whoever it may be. Like I've seen him on the sideline this year before the quarantine. Al Horford is trying to talk some sense into him, and he's like, and throws his towel and walks back on the floor. Like, you can't even. Al Horford, like he's
Yeah.
been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? He is what you should be. Like seriously, being able to shoot, rebound, defend, and you won't even listen to Al Horford. Like, come on, man, that's crazy.
I don't know. Sometimes teammates can look toxic and turn out to actually be productive. Jimmy Butler, I mentioned earlier, perfect example. So many people were saying he was the toxic teammate with the T-Wolves.
That's
Turned
just
out he was a good
and
teammate.
like
That was
the
coming from
76ers.
Cat and Andrew Wiggins because they
Right.
had never had anybody push them that hard. He was like, I want you to
True,
work the
that's
butter.
true.
I'm
Fair
10%
enough.
every single
Right.
night. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you're sore. We're giving it all. Unless you can't walk, we're going out there and we're
Right.
giving it our all. Like that's what it is. So I mean,
There it is.
Nice.
Good old
Nice.
So that's a sign of our time is
There you
waning
go.
down. All right, I kind of missed that one though. Swanee, Nate, who do we have on that debate? Do we go with Stretch or do we go with
All
Jack?
right. What were we debating again?
Who you
Embiid
build
or
the Sixers
Simmons?
around?
I can go. Stretch had in the bit when he said that until he said Horford is what Embiid should be. That's
As far as the skill set, you know, as far as being a leader,
And
I'm
a team
reliable.
player.
I'm
a
gonna-
team player.
I'll go with Stretch.
Okay.
all right. So I'm usually before this debate, I was usually I'm very critical of Ben Simmons and I was much higher on Embiid. But the one thing I don't like, is the more I look at Embiid, is laziness.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go with Stretch. I think Stretch made a good case for Ben Simmons. It's starting to
Is
make
he
me
running
think.
away
Now.
with
It's like,
this?
hey,
He's lazy, man.
All right, so I'll give the total. We'll do 2 more questions, but it's
That's a
a
good
close
debate.
match. We got Swanee with 1, Nate with 2, Jack has 1, and Stretch has 2 as well. So we'll go with Stretch for this one, and we'll go Nate. All right.
So if Stretch wins this one, he's got it sealed.
Not necessarily.
Not
There's one
necessarily.
more question. We
Okay.
can end in a tie, and the final points will be calculated at the end, so
Oh,
you
okay.
guys still have time. Victor Oladipo trade rumors. We mentioned his name in some previous potential trades. So Nate, you can go first.
all right.
Do you think he's staying with the Pacers, or would he join Lakers, Knicks, Bucks, or a different team that I didn't mention?
I think honestly for Oladipo, until he gets himself grounded, like he himself, I think he should stay with the Pacers. He himself even said these trade rumors weren't necessarily true. So I just think until maybe this season he needs to stick with it because he needs to get back on after the injury. We need to see what he really is before we determine his trade value. We know what he was before the injury, but do we know how good he is? Is he going to be still that same player after this injury? I don't know. So maybe one more season, rock it out just to see. To make yourself fish yourself out in your market. If that makes that's stuttering. No, it's just so he can determine what his market, so teams can determine what they're willing to give up for him. So I think it makes the most sense to stay with the Pacers. What do you think?
Actually, we talked about it earlier. Boston actually seems more and more attractive for a guy like Victor Oladipo. We saw the struggles of the point guard position that they had in the playoffs with Kemba Walker being so small and so miniature. If you could bring in Victor Oladipo and slide him into a more of a facilitator position, Now you don't have the size issue that was plaguing Boston down the stretch. You also don't have the same issues of having Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum competing over shots and who's the man, so on and so forth. You make Jason Tatum your guy, bring in Victor Oladipo, get rid of Jaylen Brown, and now you have a solid 1 through 5.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave that for Swanee and Jack. What do you guys think? We got Nate with the Pacers.
I think if Victor Oladipo. So what would your trade be then? 'Cause-
Jaylen Brown,
okay, so you
Like
keep-
shoot up 1 for 1.
1 for 1, and then you throw in some pieces off the bench
Okay.
just to make it work
I mean,
financially.
so you're keeping Kemba then?
No. Actually, I want to trade Kimba somewhere else to get some
okay.
depth.
Oh.
Yeah, Kimba,
I love Kimba, man.
Kimba got to
Kimba's
go.
gotta go.
I feel
Yeah,
like
Kimba got to go.
Victor Oladipo would be is a downgrade at this point from Jaylen Brown,
I agree.
Ooh.
which is why I'm gonna have to side with Nathan.
I
But he's
agree.
not taking over for Jaylen Brown. He's taking over for Kimba Walker.
Wait, but you said that he was gonna get
Kimba
traded for
Walker will
Jaylen
get
Brown.
traded for depth.
He's
Hang on,
saying
so
trade
the line, so the
both,
line
so
that we're
bring in
talking
Oladipo.
here, breaking
We're
news,
taking
three-team
trade.
Right. It's
Wait,
gonna
we're
be
talking what, like Oladipo at the 1.
Oladipo,
Who are you taking? Smart?
Smart,
Tatum.
Hayward,
Okay.
Oh, Hayward, Tatum.
Tatum, and
And-
Tice.
Okay. This seems like a downgraded lineup from last
Yeah,
year,
I agree.
but I still think you argued it better.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
So
with
I'm
Oh, we need a
gonna have to leave it up
tiebreaker.
to- I'm gonna have to leave it up
It's
to
a
Zach.
tiebreaker. First tiebreaker, dog.
Ooh. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with Nate too. Alright, just
Well, that's
because I think,
shocking.
yeah, I think that honestly, like when someone's come off injury, and we'll know more when we get to All-Star break about
Right.
who
Yeah.
needs what,
Right.
but that's when you really determine value and you'll pick your players. Right now, Pacers, I mean, they have them, they're on the roster, so I'm gonna give the tie break to Nate. Alright, so our last one, let's go Nate and Swanee and Jack, rock, paper, scissors, go.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Wait, whoever wins goes, or whoever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whoever wins.
yeah.
Are you a messenger? I feel like that's how you always gotta go.
All right, sure then.
Ah, this is intense.
There's never been more stakes in a game of rock, paper, scissors.
Alright.
Got you the
You
same
gotta
thing
think about the
twice.
psyche. You gotta play that.
The founder of the debate, mate. I
Hey,
came in
man,
the last
basketball and
question.
any other activity is mental, man. You just failed the mental test, bro.
Can't beat the scissors, man. It beats every single one.
I'm just always rock. I've never
Rock
changed.
wins
I'm always
every
rock.
Yeah.
I know.
I
Yeah.
feel like every dude used to pick rock every time when he was
Nah,
on
man,
like
paper, high risk, high reward.
So we have Drew Holiday. There's some trade rumors
I'm
coming
glad
from the
y'all got this
Pelicans.
one. That's
Right.
all, yeah.
So I'm gonna let's Jack, you go first. You think he's gonna stay with Pelicans, or maybe Nuggets, Nets, or Bulls will vie for his services?
I think those teams would like him, but I think realistically he's sticking with the Pelicans. I don't think the Pelicans have any reason to trade him. He's not an incredibly expensive player. He's got a good skill set. He can shoot the three. He plays defense. That's one of those things you need, right? With young players, that's such a young team, is defense and mentorship, right? One of the things I see most consistently with players coming to the draft, they're good offensive players, but they can't play an ounce of defense. That seems to be, because, I mean, offense makes highlights, right? That's what the league is about now. So they need defensive mentorship, guys like, Lonzo's going to be a decent defender. Brandon Ingram's not an elite defender by any means. Zion's not an elite defender by any means. They need guys who can play good on-ball defense like Drew Holiday, and they need that experience.
Okay. And then Nate, I'll give you this question: is there somebody maybe they can trade for that would make the Pelicans better? Nuggets, Nets, Bulls.
No, I don't know. Pelicans are weird. They got a lot of young pieces. Like Drew Holiday and maybe like Derek Favors are really their only true veteran players. So I don't know who the Pelicans bring in, but I can tell you where I think Drew Holiday should go.
Okay.
If y'all want to hear that, I think the best is the Nets need a third option. They need that defense, especially in that backcourt with Kyrie Irving, who we know does not play defense. That backcourt, that Drew Holiday would be the perfect third option. Sure, we can say the Nets try to go after Bradley Beal. I personally think Bradley Beal belongs more in the Nuggets. I think he'd fit a little bit better next to Jamal Murray. But I think Drew Holiday would be a nice piece for the Nets. You might have to give up somebody like, I'm assuming Dinwiddie, if they're going to want Karis LeVert or Jared Allen, somebody like that. I think you're willing to part because you still have people like DeAndre Jordan. Nicholas Claxton is not too bad. He's developing quite nice. So I think Drew Holiday would be a really good fit on the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. Good stuff.
I
Yeah.
refuse to vote since I was not included in the final.
This guy.
Salty!
It's not
This
the final. This is the mid-level debate here. This
guy.
is
This
mid-tier.
guy.
But I will go with
Yeah, add some input.
I'll go with Jack because he had the better quote. Offense makes highlights.
The better quote.
I mean, I'm gonna go with the Tech Man as well, simply because I don't think a lot of teams are gonna go give up those type of pieces for Drew Holiday. You know what I'm saying? Like it would make sense, but I think they're gonna really go after Paul George for the Nets. You know what I'm saying? Like I really think they're gonna go after him.
Nets got a bunch of decisions. There's a lot of pieces they could really go after realistically.
They can really, you know,
The ball's in their court, man. They can really go and get who they really want.
Absolutely.
Who are we talking about next? Isaiah Thomas or Fred VanVleet?
We're going to
We're
Isaiah
really
Thomas.
talking
So,
about Isaiah
Gosh, don't make me argue in favor of Isaiah.
Isaiah!
Isaiah.
Don't give up on Isaiah.
I still remember that playoff performance in Boston. All right, here we go. So we have the end of the round 2. Nate, you're in first place with 3 points. Jack and Coach Stretch, you guys are tied for 2. Swanee, the founder of Debate Mates, that did not get the last question, is in last place with 1.
Well, if you look at the notes, I got one less question than everybody.
That's true.
I
That's
had-
why you had rock paper
Because you
scissors.
didn't qualify to ask this. The last one, it would have been the other way around if you won rock, paper, scissors.
And if you win your arguments, you stay on the court. It's called King of the
Absolutely.
Court.
Yeah.
Swanee, you gotta start
You
winning
get more
these
questions
arguments.
as you win more debates.
All right. All right. That being said, I'm gonna pair up Nate and Swanee. You're gonna be a team for the next 2 questions, and then we'll have Jack and Stretch for the next 2 as well. All right. So, 2 Isaiah Thomas news. Here we go, gentlemen.
Anticipate this one.
Isaiah Thomas says it's like night and day for me. 31 years old. There's no more pain. I got my full range of motion. For 3 years, I was trying to play with the best players in the world with 1 leg, man.
You tweet
I need
this
that
like
help.
3 in the morning, I feel
Right.
like.
I needed help from my kids to put my socks on in the morning. Now I can lift weights, I can squat low, I can work out twice a day, I'm able to cut, move, stop, cut, and go. I'm athletic and I have scientific evidence to show it. Isaiah Thomas,
evidence?
You didn't really say
healthy
this, did you?
Yeah,
return.
you did it.
My man, I appreciate the confidence, but good lord, my guy. Like, calm down. You're 31
Can we
years
appreciate
old.
the real winner of the debate, Coach Lee?
Let's be honest, I'd be crushed.
Is that a real quote that came out of Isaiah Thomas's mouth?
Yes, that's real, man.
So let's go with
Oh,
let's go with Nate Swanee. You guys, Isaiah Thomas, does he have a place in this league? Is he gonna be on a team?
I'll
Can
let
he
you say it
contribute?
and I'll just follow up.
Isaiah, I'm sorry. Maybe like 2 years ago, after he was like being okay with the
Excuse me,
Lakers.
Nate. He can cut now.
Oh,
He can squat low.
Sorry, you missed
I forgot about the scientific evidence.
Squat low.
Scientific evidence.
backs
He's
him
got
up.
the scientific evidence back. I
31,
totally forgot that I factored in my
LeBron,
answer.
He's gonna try to fact check
Listen,
actual scientists.
Now that I factored that into my answer, the answer is still no. He doesn't, man. I wanted to. I love Isaiah Thomas. I wanted to have faith, and like after that season, he was like Cavs, Lakers, Denver. And I was like maybe, but no. At this point, you're 31 years old. You're such a liability defensively
Jeez,
that it doesn't. You're like he's 5'10", 5'9".
Yeah, that.
Yeah, and that's like
5'4".
you're worse at defense than Kyrie Irving.
If
Because, like that's he's just such a liability. What? There's nothing.
We're talking about.
You
Kemba-
give
you
him
guys
the
are
minimum
talking
if you're signing
talking
him.
about Kemba Walker's height being exposed. This
Right.
guy's coming off injury. Sure, he can cut, but I don't know how quick he's gonna be. This guy's 5 inches shorter than Kemba.
Yeah.
Kemba's one of the elite point guards in the league, and still is exposed for his height. And now Isaiah Thomas, who hasn't played in like 2-3 years, is gonna come in and be king of the fourth quarter again. I don't think so.
Okay. So then we have Stretch and Jack. Can he make a difference anywhere, or are you guys siding with Swanee and Nate? That just
Of course
is-
not. He could be a good water boy, I guess.
Man, he need to keep letting his kids put on the socks, man, and just
Take
make
it
sure
easy.
they match it.
Just step from
Take
life.
it easy. Just chill out, bro. Anytime you can't start over Shabazz Napier or who was the other guy they had, the guy in Washington. Like these no name guys, you can't start over them. It's okay.
Oh,
it's
Ish
time.
Smith. That was
Ish
it.
Smith.
Ish Smith.
Like,
is
dude.
It's time to Isaiah Thomas.
Like, dude, come on, man. Like, there's a place for him in China. There's also a place for him in the Czech Republic where he can go out and, maybe he can have a stuff on
He
Marvel.
could average like 11, 12 points a game in the
Right,
Czech
right.
Republic.
Hey, I'm just
and get a
saying,
statue.
Isaiah Thomas and LiAngelo Ball might be a nice duo in the league.
Absolutely.
You mean because they both get 130 points put on their head each?
In Brazil. In Brazil. That Brazilian league is no
Doing
joke.
the Brazil.
All right, we're gonna watch that question. I just wanted to include Isaiah Thomas.
Oh,
Just for
my
me.
Because he
God.
squats low.
Just-
Man, that was bad.
When he squats low,
He
he's
squats
ready.
low, man.
He's ready.
He can work out twice a day now.
I'm convinced he squats
Twice a
low.
day.
Twice a day. Stretch and Jack, let's go with this one then. Giannis, right? Kind of the same dilemma. You finish number 1, you have your best regular season, but you just can't get over that hump. You can't make the finals. Is Giannis going to be on the Bucks next year? Will he stay, or do you think he's going to leave? And if he stays, what do they need to do to make it work for them to get over that hump to compete for a championship? Stretch and Jack.
You want to start?
I can start. I think that Giannis is one of the problems on the Bucks, but I don't think he's leaving. At least not yet. I think he'll be there next season. He did say the thing. A lot of people get caught up on the thing he said about like if we're winning championships, I'll stay. Or he said something like if we're contenders. I think they're still contenders, but they need to move around. They need to switch around some pieces, but not him. I think he and Middleton are a good duo to stick with. They need to get rid of guys like Brooke Lopez and
Sideshow Bob from The
yeah.
Simpsons.
Sure, yeah,
Robin Lopez.
Robin Lopez and guys like Eric Bledsoe, because last season Brooke Lopez had that the Splash Mountain meme was a thing.
Yeah.
He's not that good of a shooter. He's not that good of a player, to be honest. His defense went up a bit, but I think that was a fluke. He's never been that great of a defensive player. And Eric Bledsoe, he can't shoot either. He's not a scorer. He's a slasher sometimes, but I think they need to get more shooters on that team, in all honesty. They have guys like Kyle Korver coming off the bench, but he's like 100 years old at this point.
108.
100, you're right, my bad.
Absolutely.
Fact check that. Yeah. They need shooters, they need scorers. They've got enough defense, I think, already with Giannis. Now it's just a matter of moving around some other pieces, so I think he's staying with the Bucks.
Okay, I'll add on. Don't leave my partner out there swimming alone. I'll add on. The issue to me for the Bucks is the coach. Buddy Ball does not work. It's great in the regular season. You score a lot of points, but when the games slow down in the playoffs, it has been proven over and over and over again. When he was in Atlanta, he had the same thing. He had 4 All-Stars in Atlanta.
Useless in the half court.
It's horrible in the half court. And I don't know if it's his plays. I don't know if it's his philosophy overall. But when the game slows down, you need buckets in the half court. He has no answer. He has no
That's
answer.
the thing about Giannis. He's so dominant in transition, but I remember people were saying, like, when he had that whole dispute with James
Right.
Harden, all he does is run and dunk.
Right.
I think we kind of are all realizing that that's true.
It's pretty true.
In the playoffs, when athleticism can't win you everything and
Right.
defense is at its peak,
Right.
you're not scoring in the. If you
Right.
can't score in the half court, you can't get crunch time buckets,
Absolutely.
and he can't shoot. You know,
I'm with
he
you, bro.
can't produce unless he's on the fast break.
I'm with you.
Okay, so Nate and Swanee, you agree with those two staying with the Bucks? Do you think something different for that to work, or do you
For this
think,
year. I think
Yeah,
this
for,
year.
for the 2020
for this year coming up. He
or do you
stays.
think maybe someone will make a trade for him? What do you guys think?
I mean, honestly, I don't really. I want him. I want him to stay. I think he should stay for this year at least. How do you feel? Because like I can't go forward if you disagree.
I mean, it's gonna look bad. Our argument's not gonna win if you're already on their side. So all agree.
I'm not on the. Well, like we can just
We can all
disagree
agree
on and
have
also
a strong
disagree.
argument.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I have a better argument for like who they should bring in and stuff like that, and also like because honestly, Giannis and I think it was the GM. They had that meeting. And I
Yeah.
was like, we need to do something or I'm out. And like
Which was followed by him.
that's very fair. So
And
they
then
need
he followed
they need to be
everybody.
active in this free agency. And I think someone that's been rumored to come in, I think you need to trade for a veteran leader, Chris Paul. Chris Paul made Harden better. Chris Paul can make Giannis better. He can ground Giannis a lot better. And Chris Paul knows his role. We know he's aging, but he's still very valuable. He got that OKC to the playoffs. I mean, he was their best player. I think he was really nice. So I mean, I think he'd be awesome for Giannis and the Bucks. I think, and even just for Giannis to learn and just like heck, maybe even they bring in some other shooters or something. Like maybe they trade for JJ Redick or somebody. I know he's older, but at least he's gonna give you some instant threes, gonna give you some points, and maybe you can help Giannis out. I don't know. Giannis with a consistent midi even would be pretty nice. But like after this year, you gotta blow it up because honestly. The Raptors were also really good in the regular season. Lowry and DeRozan, they blew it up and they got a championship.
Yeah.
So like after if it doesn't work this year and they bring in pieces for him and it just doesn't work, he gotta go.
Yeah.
The thing. Oh, go ahead.
It's kind of like Charles Barkley was talking about this a while ago, how Michael Jordan didn't win his first championship with the Bulls until he was 28. I'm not saying that Giannis is Michael Jordan. They're not anywhere
Watch
near
your words,
as
Swanee.
good.
Easy.
Watch your words.
Very nice.
But I'm just using it as an example. For players nowadays want to win their first ring like before they turn 23. You have to wait it out sometimes, and there are a lot of great players who are available. You really don't need another star next to him. You just need to surround him with some shooting, in my opinion. Buddy Hield is unhappy. Maybe you can get a little bit less for him.
You need stars to win.
Well, they have Giannis, and they have
Stars, plural.
Chris Middleton, who we both agreed was a
Okay,
top
but how are you
25
gonna
player.
keep? How are you?
You did.
How are you
Yes,
gonna
those
keep?
said
How are
top
you gonna keep?
25.
He's a good all-star.
How are
Top
Buddy
25
Hield
apparently.
and Chris Middleton gonna be compatible? Who's playing point guard on that team?
Chris Middleton can bring the ball up. Giannis can bring the ball
You want
up.
Chris Middleton to play point guard?
Chris Middleton, in the game when Giannis didn't play against, or he didn't play in 2 games, but the game where he was injured and Chris Middleton carried them to the win, he had the ball in his hands, he was making decisions, he was shooting threes, getting double teamed
But I'm
occasionally.
saying, who do you have as a reliable playmaker on that team? To
You
run
can
the
have,
point?
well, Giannis averaged 8-9 assists a game. Middleton,
You can't run Giannis at the point.
That's not
why not? I mean, it's
That's why you trade for Chris Paul. Reliable playmaker.
That's the problem, right? Because
Instantly
if you
makes
have
you
Buddy
better.
Hield, you have Buddy Hield take what? The 2 and Middleton at the 3 and Giannis at the 4? I mean, like, what's your lineup here?
And to me, I agree with you. The only way that you keep Giannis is you bring in a solid point guard. Now, however, Chris Paul's asking price, he's due like 40 and some change.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
That's
That's-
the one that's like.
That is the issue to get a guy in, but there has to be another solid
I think
facilitator
an
out there.
interesting I don't know if it wouldn't make them a championship contender in my opinion, but Drew Holiday could maybe have a good fit. He's not going to put them over the edge, but he's another solid defender. That's a pretty good 3-man defense with him, Giannis
Yeah.
and Brook Lopez.
But I think
But they need
they're
a
at the
shooter.
point now where they have to win. Like
Yeah, because
to
the
keep
fact,
Giannis,
the
they have
fact
to win.
is, like, you were talking about blowing the team up if it doesn't work this year. I don't know if you can do that.
Well, there's gonna be no choice. Giannis is
Yeah.
like this year.
He's
If
gonna
you don't
be-
bring me nothing and we don't make
But the
it,
fact
I'm out.
is, the fact
Like,
is that
bye.
either way, that's disastrous for the Bucks because this team's built around Giannis. It's the same thing like with the Warriors, right? You trade Steph Curry to any team, he's going to produce. But the Warriors team is built around him. He's going to produce, and that team's going to produce way more efficiently with him in there. You get rid of Giannis, if he walks, that's his choice. But if when does his contract expire? Does it expire season
It's next year.
after
Yeah,
next
yeah.
year? Yeah, so the Bucks really can't afford to trade him right now. Their whole team, unless they trade all their other pieces at
There's
the same
really
time.
not a
or
trade.
before.
Who are you trading? Like, there's not
And
a realistic
his trade value is going to be down because everyone's giving him possibly more than they deserve.
Yeah.
A lot of hate after this postseason.
Yeah, his market value in the trade market is a lot harder to determine than it used to be like 1 or
Yeah.
2 years ago. So it's like
Because I don't know if you can really call him like a top 3, top 5 player at this point. After seeing these playoffs and seeing.
yeah, he definitely got exposed in the.
He
bubble,
got
let's be
exposed the
honest.
past 2 playoffs
Yeah.
for not having a jumper and for not stepping up when it mattered. No one wants to trade for him, and the Bucks can't really afford to trade
They're
him.
even
The
questioning
whole
his
team's built
awards.
around
Well,
Last
whoever they
night,
trade him
he
for,
got
he's gonna
exposed.
lose. Like they're not gonna get like
Anything
even. He's
equal,
still worth enough to like what would be? Do you even have is there even a realistic trade possible?
For Giannis,
For
you mean like
Giannis.
a one-on-one trade, like
No,
Giannis.
No, just
Yeah.
a trade
Pieces.
where both teams win. Someone gets Giannis and then the Bucks get.
I don't
equal
know how
value
you-
in
what about
return.
this? The thing, Giannis
OKC, they
isn't-
got a lot of draft capital.
Giannis isn't a player you
They
can
signed
just
an
put into
extension,
any
you gotta
team
face
and have
him
him.
financially.
In order to get
Great
Giannis,
success.
you have to be ready and be willing to mortgage your entire future.
Yeah.
So you talking about all your young
Yeah.
pieces and all your draft picks for the next 5, 6, 7 years. I need all of that for Giannis.
Versus just waiting a year, picking him up with a max contract in free agency,
Right.
and him coming to Golden State
Also,
to play
we
with Curry.
don't
and
know-
I
Thompson.
think that's it.
We don't know what Giannis is thinking. Maybe Giannis, regardless if they do better this year, maybe Giannis is like, I'm sick of a small market team.
Yeah.
I want to go somewhere with warm weather, nice city, instead of this crappy
South
little town of
Beach.
Wisconsin.
The old LeBron move there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give that to Swanee and Nate just because that Chris Paul. I've never had more respect for Chris Paul than this past playoffs of what he can do to a young team. When you talk about pieces to bring for Giannis to win, that would be a magical
Can
piece.
I
of
say
play.
one thing real quick
Yeah.
about Giannis today?
Harden was at his best when
I
he was
question. I don't know. Putting
That's
Chris
all I
Paul
gotta
as
say.
a superstar didn't work in Houston.
It didn't.
Yeah, but
They would have beaten
Here's the
Golden
thing,
State
here's
if
the
Chris
thing.
Paul hadn't gotten hurt in that game.
Okay, you
They
don't
didn't
know
say-
that.
I think that they gave him
I'm a
some
Golden
trouble.
State fan. We would have lost if Chris Paul played that
Maybe,
game.
maybe. Golden State
I-
had.
He has 99 clutch factor. He doesn't
Yeah.
miss in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's
True leader.
he's
But how you
But
gonna
does
do it?
Chris Paul being missing affect the fact they missed like 33s in a row?
Yeah, that's true.
That is
They
true.
did.
They played like crap that game. Would Chris Paul? They lost by double digits. Would Chris Paul have really put them over the hump that game?
Yeah, but I don't know if you've ever played like in a basketball game. You got that true alpha leader on the court.
I guess
He
there's so
settles
many like
everybody.
other
Well,
like
I
underlying
understand that,
differences that he
you
could
talk,
make
you
besides.
communicate.
I just don't think they would be able to go get him. Like, what
Yeah.
are you going to...
I think they would have
I
at
think
least
he's
put up a
happy with
fight. That would have
Scott
been a
Mills.
double. That wouldn't have been a double-digit loss. It would have been a really close.
Like,
it
if
still
you're,
would have been a
if you're
close game.
OKC and you're obviously trying to rebuild, he got a $40 million price tag. Like,
Mhm.
are
And
you
he's
gonna
30,
say-
34,
Right,
35
He's
years
a
old.
he's a
I don't
floor
want Eric
raiser.
Bledsoe.
He's
I
a
don't
floor
want
raiser,
Chris
not a
Middleton.
ceiling raiser. I don't think he'd make Giannis better in the same way he didn't make James Harden better. But he made guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all the young guys on OKC better. I think he brings average players up to good players. I don't think he takes good players to great players. So I don't think he'd be a good fit on the Bucks.
Okay, Swanee, what do you got? You want to say one last thing on your show?
No,
Go.
that's fine.
You sure?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
You gonna let that ride, Swan?
Come on, Swan dog.
Swan, get in the fight.
You just complained you didn't get enough questions as the rest of us.
Ah,
Now you don't want to answer, man.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Come on, you started this whole
When
thing.
you
Get
were
it
talk-
off.
when you were talking about Giannis going to the Heat, that's what I was going to say earlier.
Oh, I was just joking. I was making a reference to LeBron leaving Cleveland for warm weather.
Well,
I have now.
I'm ready for the next question.
Okay, so hey, you're no longer on teams right now. We're gonna just go individually. I'm gonna do a timer. I see why debate mates is usually run with just 2 people because if there's 5 of us here, there's no limit. But we're gonna go first question. Best young core. You have 30 seconds to answer. Let's start with Swanee. Best young core in the NBA. Go. What team?
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the Denver Nuggets. Stretch is on record as saying Jamal Murray is one of. Wait, was my time up already?
No.
Well, that was quick.
As saying Jamal Murray has arrived as a top 25 player.
Yeah.
Joker's a top 10 player in the league.
Ooh.
They've got, and they had a bunch of young players that have experience now. Guys that might not be great players, but at least have that pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good coach who's been good with the young players. The Nuggets already are a conference finals team. They got finals in their in the future.
Awesome. Okay.
Not as long as LeBron's there, but that's good stuff.
All right, Jack. What do you got?
It feels bad for me.
I got the Heat. I think the Heat qualify as a young. You got
Dang it.
Bam Adebayo, okay. You got Tyler Hero. You got Duncan Robinson. Jimmy's young enough. I'll throw him in there. He's not old. That team, the more opportunities they have to gel, because this is their first season. They went from a 5th seed. They're in the finals. Probably not going to win it, but they have a chance, right? They're in the finals. So I think they're only going to get better with time. Once Hero and Robinson start developing some better ball handling skills, some better defensive skills, I think that's a team that could definitely get a championship contender for at least the next 2 years.
Yeah, 5-second rebuttal. Go.
I will say they might have made the finals this year, but a lot of that was because of Jimmy Butler. You're not gonna have him for the next 5 years. He's gonna get
Why
old
not?
at some point.
Why not?
Stretch. Who do you have?
He's
Best
literally
young
the
core in
perfect
the
player.
NBA.
He's not that old. He's
like 29.
I mean, they took the top 2, and so I'm gonna go ahead and say OKC with their unknown draft picks,
Ooh, the unknown.
and Shea Gilgeous
They're set
Alexander,
up for years.
and yeah, they are set for the foreseeable future. Like they're going to play this thing out. When LeBron retires, they're going to be right there, ready to punch through the ceiling.
Okay. Nate.
I'm gonna.
30
So
seconds.
I was gonna say Heat, but I'm gonna go with my second. I don't think I want to talk about these. I'm gonna go with Memphis Grizzlies. I think John Morant with Jaren Jackson Jr. and also we can't overlook Brandon Clark. We can't overlook Dylan Brooks, who took huge steps this year. So Brandon Clark is like one of the nicest 6 men in the league. I think he'll develop into that. Memphis Grizzlies, like aside from like Jonas Valanciunas and like Justice Winslow's like okay, he's aging, but maybe get somebody better there. But I think the Grizzlies have a bright future ahead of them with some other like nice draft picks in between. I think they could be a real playoff contending team.
Can I say what the
No one said the Celtics.
Perfect.
Can I say what the correct answer is that I realized right after I said
What the
Celtics?
correct
The correct
answer?
answer is the Dallas Mavericks, led by
Oh.
You're right. You're right. But you didn't
Ah.
say it doesn't count.
a top
It doesn't
7
count.
player Luka Doncic.
There's a lot of good young cores.
That's the
in there.
correct
Like
answer.
there's
There's a lot
so
of
there's
that.
so
That is the correct answer, but nobody
So
said
it is very
I
exciting.
came up with it first.
You
Yes.
did, you, and now your
So I'm
time's
gonna
up.
give
Also,
Swanee the win on that
Yeah.
one. One because
Yeah.
His time was up, man.
his time was up. But more importantly, I think Denver having like 2 players.
More importantly, he's the show host, and we won't be allowed to come back. If
But he didn't even mention Bobo. And you know Bobo's my guy.
Bobo.
You know Bobo's my guy. And that's why he looked at me when he
Bobo's
said
the
that. He
second
probably
coming
said
of
it
LeBron
Nuggets.
James.
Ooh, this is exciting. So this is a double round. Swanee got 4, everybody else 2 for that.
Wait, I'm winning.
No, not in total.
Well, I got 4 points from that.
You got 4 points for that.
But you were still down. It was like 1-3, 2-2.
1 plus 4 is 5. That's
And I have 5.
We had a 3-way tie.
Oh, you have 5.
I have 5. I had
Oh,
3
he's
and now
the
2.
three-way
Seven.
tie.
Is it me, Stretch, and Swanee?
All right, I'll calculate the numbers
Oh,
to be
shoot.
sure. But check this out. I got Nate at 9 total, Swanee at 9, Stretch at 7, Jack at 7.
Oh, it's okay, guys.
All right. So
You got
let's
carried.
start.
Come
We're
on,
gonna
man.
go. We're
You
gonna
got
go with
carried.
Stretch first. What
Alright.
player's stock has dropped the most in the bubble? Some people say Siakam, Paul George, Westbrook, Kemba Walker. What do you have for us?
There are a lot of them, but I'm gonna say Giannis, and I'm gonna say Giannis simply because people are questioning his awards. Like I said in the last segment, people's like he stole the MVP. He didn't deserve the Defensive Player of the Year. Like, people are really attacking him because he got exposed so much in the playoffs, in the bubble. That lack of a mid-range jump shot, lack of intensity or dog, as we characterize it, willing to take the challenge to go and defend Jimmy Butler when he was going crazy. Like, people are really coming after Giannis right now, and for good reason. So I think his stock is dropping like a cinder block on the roof, just dropping quickly.
Look, in this NBA, we're more critical players than ever. So you gotta be.
I'm going with Russell Westbrook. Another season, another time Russell Westbrook fails to show up in the playoffs. All right, with Giannis, it's like, I don't know. I feel like, at least for me, I kind of expected it with Giannis. I think I kind of saw it coming because he's not someone who will win you games in the playoffs, and I think everyone kind of recognized after he got beaten up by the Raptors last year that he's not built for the playoffs. He's a great regular season player. He's not a playoff player. Westbrook, on the other hand, is someone who, like, he's coming into OKC and people are like, or excuse me, coming into Houston, people are like, are Houston going to be contenders? People were saying OKC and Houston both won this trade. People were saying Houston is now a solid, possibly a contender. OKC remains a playoff team. Awesome. But he did worse with the Rockets than Chris Paul did. And Chris Paul didn't do great with the Rockets. Westbrook averaged in the playoffs, less than 20 points a game. You're shooting like 20%. You're shooting like 20% for the field. Every year, I hear people say, this is Westbrook's year, Westbrook's going to dominate. It never happens. I think Westbrook, people are recognizing he is possibly a fringe top 10 point guard in the league. I'm going to say it. He's a fringe top 10 point
Ooh, that's a hot take.
He went from like a certified
You said
top
a
5.
fringe top 10.
He's maybe 7 or 8. He's on the border. He's on the cusp.
Who
Okay?
are the 6 to 7 players? But name me these point guards right
Okay.
now.
Thanks,
Curry,
Chad. That's your
Lillard,
30
Kyrie.
seconds. Nate,
that's-
who you got?
I got somebody that I was
God.
really high on before the season started. I got Tobias Harris. Look, bro, you just got a $180 million contract. Where were you in the playoffs? What did you average? Like 9 points?
Eating cheeseburgers with
Yeah,
Embiid, bro.
like he has that Embiid laziness attitude, man. Like, come on, you just got an $80 million. Start playing like you're worth $180 million, or you're never gonna see money like that again.
Oh, this is it for him.
Yeah, this is like now everybody's seeing this, and it's like, oh, if we give him this big, like humongous 3 or 4 year, $180 million contract, he's not gonna live up to his end of the deal with 9 points in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Like, come on, that's not it, man. You need to be better about that.
That's a really good point. Swani, last one.
I'm going with Paul George because with Giannis and Westbrook, their stock might have dropped a bit, but there are still so many other franchises that would want one of them because they put people in the seats and they will get you a good record in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
For Tobias Harris, his stock might have gone from here to here. My guy, his stock might have gone from here to down here. That's Paul George. He is memed, he is ridiculed, he is hated by most
Playoff
fans.
Pandemic P.
He's been horrible basically every playoffs he's played in, ever since LeBron destroyed him in Indiana. I mean, the Clippers might not even want him anymore after 1 year. That's how bad he was.
Yeah, but
And we both agreed he was top 25.
yeah,
And he
but
might not
I had
even be
him
that
closer
good.
down the line than
Not
you
to
did.
mention, Giannis will play
That's a compelling argument.
70-ish games a year.
Right.
Tobias Harris isn't too injury prone. Westbrook is in there a little bit. Paul George might give you 50 to 60, and he's not.
You're
gonna
right, my
play
guy's
much
not
in
too
the playoffs
injury
either.
prone. Why is he only averaging 9 points in the playoffs? There's no excuse.
Well, I mean, his stock.
I think he would have averaged more if Ben Simmons was there.
So
Since Simmons would have fed him in the
To be
perimeter
fair,
and
I
in
think
the
that
corner.
actual.
That's why for me, Paul George has to be the.
I
only
think actual
correct
NBA
answer.
GMs and coaches are
Is
going to
people trying
recognize.
to take Paul George awards away?
Well, he
No.
didn't win any. Giannis is going to win some in the future. He's
Is
still
he?
got to win awards.
Giannis
Is
has
he?
deserved his MVP. I'm saying it right now.
No,
It
Giannis
was
is
LeBron's
never winning another
MVP.
MVP.
Last year I was
Maybe
fine with it. This year it was
Maybe.
LeBron's and
Okay,
he
but
took
even
it.
if he doesn't win MVP, he's going to win all NBA. He's going to be all NBA teams. He's going to be all defensive teams because he's still going to give.
Paul George is still going to be all defensive team.
He wasn't like all defensive team this year, and he
'Cause
doesn't
he was
play.
hurt.
He doesn't
So
play
he
enough
was
games
hurt
to
half
be in
the season.
consideration. He is always hurt. The shoulder, the leg. I mean, he is never healthy.
Hey,
Well, that's why I said it was a bad trade to begin with. Because he was hurt already, and you traded for a hurt player.
I just
So
didn't like the
coming in,
number
he
of
missed the
picks.
first
They
25.
gave so
The
many.
number of picks involved wasn't worth
bring
it.
Well,
this
and that's
back
another
to
thing. I mean,
Yeah.
they gave
Sold
up
your franchise
7.
away.
They gave up 7 picks for Paul
Yeah.
George. So his stock for the Clippers,
The
Clippers
Clippers
fans,
don't have a first
was
round till
as high as
2026.
possible.
That's their expectations, though.
Yeah.
But
To me-
real
and now the
people knew
expectations
that
are
was
way
a
down
bad
here.
deal. Like, don't do this
And I
deal.
think also real NBA GMs and coaches are going to realize, does Paul George deserve all the hate he's getting? He deserves a lot of it. does he deserve all of it? Because they had a
He
lot
was-
of
he
players
was
who
pretty
didn't show.
bad.
They had a lot.
Well,
He was
we
pretty
gotta
bad.
also-
He was
let's-
pretty bad, but so was Lou Will, and Kawhi didn't play up to his standards either. Does Paul George deserve all the blame, or is that just kind of a meme that's
doesn't
going around
deserve all
once
the
like
blame, but I
high
think-
school NBA?
I don't think he deserves this much blame until this better fuel the fire. If I see him in next playoffs, because I know he's going to be in the playoffs next year. If man comes out and destroys in the playoffs, then we know. I mean, but like if he's doing the exact same thing next
See,
playoffs,
here's the
yeah,
thing.
you know, like,
Here's the
what
thing.
I'm
We
saying.
want him to come out and destroy. He's not that type of destroy type of player.
He's a second. He's a second option.
He's a easy 16, 24, somewhere around there. Like
But
that's him.
at least for your two guys, the fans will still love him. They still put people in the seats, and they will still win.
No
you
one wants to go watch
40
Russell
plus
Westbrook.
games
Next
in the
year,
regular
when
season.
Paul
It's not
George is in a
2017.
net jersey, they're gonna love him.
Well, in the Nets when he has to be the
They're
third
going to
star,
love him. That's what he is.
and then he crashes and burns in the
He's
playoffs.
That's what he
Well,
is.
look,
He's
so
no
he
Peter
can
Taylor,
stop drop
man.
because he was a second. He was a number 2. He was a Robin when he went to the Clippers.
He's
Now
still
he's a
the
number
same
3.
thing. He's
Wow.
still the same thing.
Drop.
Okay,
He's the
okay.
same
So what
thing.
happens? So what happens?
It's the same
Mike
thing.
drop.
Two.
Just
Brooklyn's
he's
two
like-
best-
Coach C, call it here.
He's
Hey,
a secondary player.
Brooklyn's two
I
best
do
players.
think-
I don't want to see him suffer anymore.
No,
So
this
call
is
it here.
you guys have all made great arguments, right? I'm gonna say my top 2 arguments definitely come between Stretch and Swanee. Giannis with him not deserving the awards anymore, and then Swanee with Paul George. I think the tiebreaker for me, but I'm gonna leave it for Nate and Jack. You guys are gonna choose of who you think is the best argument, but you just made a very important point. Giannis is number 1 on his team. What's he gonna be next year?
Number 1.
Number 1 on his team.
Right.
Paul George was supposed to be number 1, number 2. What's he gonna be next year?
Number 3 if he
Maybe
goes to
3.
the Nets.
He's
Maybe.
still gonna be a
If he
2.
goes to the
You
Nets.
done your-
He's
He's
still,
still-
he's still a
Nate,
valuable
Jack.
number 3.
Nate
Like, I'm
Jack,
sorry,
it's for
Will-
you. Who do you guys think?
I got-
Stretch
You
or
know what?
Swanee?
I don't.
I got Stretch.
I got Stretch. I can't get behind
Oh
that. I
my
can't get behind
God.
because
This is-
think about it. Think about it.
this
Think
is
about
great.
it.
This is
You're
great.
arguing if he goes to the Nets, he's going to be a third option.
Stretch
Kyrie
argued
Irving.
that.
No, you said
No,
that.
you said that.
You said that.
You
Oh,
both said it,
I
but
said
you
he's
said
still
it
gonna be a
first.
2.
He
I
brought
think he's
up
still
the
gonna
Nets.
be a 2-piece.
But you said it first, and the fact is,
Yeah, he's still gonna be a
Kyrie
2-piece.
Irving.
He's not a 1. He's a
the
2.
odds that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant getting injured
I'm
again
gonna
next
walk off the
season
set.
are pretty high.
Gonna walk
Right?
off
Kyrie's
set.
been injury prone.
Matthew, you haven't made enough money to become a diva yet, man.
That's torn.
Like,
Sounds good. All right.
I'm gonna walk off
Paul
set.
George could easily end up with
Hey,
one.
hey,
number
we're going
one.
down to the wire. Here we go. We got a three-person
Well, I mean, I guess
tie.
you need it because you were in last place.
Right? We have
Yeah, right.
Stretch.
Let's roll the tape back on the horse
11.
competition.
All right, Jack, you have 9.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first. What player's stock rose the most in the bubble? Jack, you're first.
That's
What-
God,
you think
I got
Devin,
about that.
Devin Booker, maybe Jamal Murray, Tyler Hero?
All right. Ooh. Jalen Brown.
Giannis has
Jalen
one.
Brown. I'm saying Jalen Brown. I'm taking Jalen Brown.
I'm
all right?
sorry.
Look, let me explain, all right? It sounds crazy,
All
okay?
right, let's respect the 30-second time limit.
We went into this season looking at the Celtics saying who's their best player. Jason Tatum and their second best player is Kemba Walker. Jalen Brown has easily proven himself to be the second best player on that Celtics team. Is his contract high already? Yeah, kind of. But I'm saying to other teams, he is a more valuable player now because we've seen that he can be a second option. Not a third, not a fourth like he was in seasons past.
As a Celtics fan, I appreciate your take.
All right,
I appreciate my optimism.
But you're wrong.
Nate.
I think there's only one correct answer here, and it's Jamal Murray. Whose stock rose more than Jamal? My man Jamal Murray went off. I've never seen anything like it. This man proved. I was a little lower on Jamal Murray before this, but after this, that man played like a goat, man. That man played. We were all giving all this praise to scrimmage Bobo and T.J. Warren, but Jamal Murray was really the person whose stock rose most in the ball. I think it's pretty self-explanatory if you watched any Denver Nuggets game. Period. Even against the Lakers, they lost. Man was carrying the team, and Jokic was really good too. But my man Jamal Murray was beyond great in these playoffs, man. So I'm gonna go Jamal Murray.
Okay, we got Murray. Swanee, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with Devin Booker just because with Jamal Murray, I think it could still be a fluke. We still have to see what next season is like. But as Stretch has said in past episodes, when you're playing in the empty gym, anything could happen. Devin Booker has been pretty good for a while, and then it looks like he took that step. Jamal Murray took a step from maybe fringe all-star top 7, 8 point guard in the league to top 5 maybe. Devin Booker has already been pretty good. Now it looks like he finally took that leap, and he rose the whole team with him. 8-0 Suns. They were one of the worst teams in the league. No one thought they should have made it to the bubble. Devin Booker took the team on his back. The game winner against Paul George. So many great moments in the bubble. Sure, they didn't make the playoffs, but he was amazing. And I don't like Devin Booker.
We know.
And I've changed my tune on him a little
We
bit
know.
because he was.
We know.
He hates
We
Devin
know.
Booker.
He
Why?
does.
Why?
He does.
Stretch.
He
Yeah.
dates a giant.
I'm gonna go with Jimmy Buckets. It's tough
Jimmy
on last,
Buckets,
man. It's tough on last, man. But I mean, that guy took a 5-seed Heat team, but I did predict them to finish in the top 3 anyway.
Because of James Johnson.
When he took a 5-seed and he put him on his back, he gave him that crazy work ethic. As soon as they walked into the bubble, I'm hearing stories about him getting there at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., getting in the gym 2 hours, 3 hours before anybody even arrives. Then he stays for the practice, for the shoot-arounds, and so on and so forth. And he has taken let's look at Bam Adebayo as a perfect example of what happens when you buy into the Jimmy Buckets method of training. And this guy has went from 15-16 to now 15-16 is a bad game for Bam. You expect him to get 24, 25, so on and so forth. Jimmy Buckets not only elevated his own game, but the games of everyone around him, and that is true leadership. That's being a star in the NBA. Let's look at Tyler Hero. Everybody's talking about he's the next Devin Booker. Duncan Robinson, he's getting credit. He's getting more and more credit. Let's look at Dragic, the Dragon, who was a bench player before the bubble, turned to a starting player all over again. He was like, man, he used to be an all-star, didn't he? Yes, thanks to Jimmy Buckets.
All while running Big Face Coffee.
Bam, my man.
I mean, but like Warren Darden didn't get his coffee, so the relationship's soured, man. He's like, I have to take my business to Little Face Coffee.
That's really good. That's tough because I mean you all bring very important points. I'm gonna let Jack and Nate, you guys choose between Devin Booker and Jimmy Buckets as I have to throw Murray in there too though.
Yeah.
You know what? I think just like you, Nate, Murray is a different player in my mind when I saw the playoffs.
And
you
he was
could
coming
see-
off an injury.
coming off of injuries, and you see like how he was going toe to toe with the Lakers to bring them to where they are, and now the Lakers are playing the Heat. Granted, there's a lot of injuries, but it's just not
I mean,
the
that
same
first
competition.
round, him and Donovan Mitchell, like,
I should have said
That was
I should've
good
said Donovan
basketball.
Mitchell.
That was good
Donovan
basketball.
Mitchell's
It's
really
fine,
good.
like
right
just
there.
refusing to lose there. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy. He's
I mean,
a
come
different
on,
guy.
like I think was that the series Jamal walked to the freaking floor and just passed out on the ground and just was like, what series was that when he
That was
did
against. That was after they beat the.
When was that? I
the
forget what
Jazz.
series
That was the Jazz.
I would have said
They won 7 games.
That
right?
just showed me how much effort.
about Stretch's point. Bam Adebayo before you, because we're talking about the bubble here, right?
Yep.
Stockbridge,
Yeah.
not just Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. They were already pretty good, especially Duncan Robinson and Bam. Tyler Hero was, not even a
Right.
top 5 rookie, but now he's
Right.
pretty good. Devin Booker's whole team was pretty bad. He had one of the worst rosters in the league, and they went 8-0 against the top 21 teams in the league.
Yeah, no, and I think this is the narrative though that you guys spoke earlier about Jimmy Butler, which I think the argument is so powerful, is he was deemed as toxic.
Right.
He was the
Yeah.
reason the Timberwolves sucks. He's the reason 76ers couldn't get over the
Right.
hump. Nobody really wanted him. Now he goes to Miami and you say, oh, well maybe he wasn't the issue, but
He's
I'm
literally
gonna
the
give-
embodiment
his
of
stock-
Miami.
his stock
He's
was
the
rising
embodiment
before
of
the
Pat
bubble.
Riley style
That's
of
true.
play. It's a
His stock,
perfect.
it wasn't like his bubble
Yeah.
just started at the, or his stock just started at the bubble. Devin Booker, he wasn't even an all-star. He had to wait for Damian
That's
Lillard to
true.
get injured.
And I remember being in this house where we talked about teams that weren't going to the playoffs. We all said Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like we were like, Phoenix is not going to make it
8-0
before.
with
Yeah.
Ricky Rubio, Cam Johnson, DeAndre Ayton. That's
Okay, bad teams go on good streaks, good
Yeah.
teams.
I
Bad
mean, but
streaks.
Devin
How much
Booker's
is Jamal
not-
Murray and
Let's
horrible
also
teams
put this
going on an 8-0 streak,
into
so
put
that's-
this in
He doesn't
perspective.
have like
The
no
Suns are
Just have the
talent.
AAU circuit down.
Hear
there.
me out. Like he's
All right.
still got some like
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges is nice. Ayton's solid. Even Saric played pretty good minutes. I mean, he's not without some help.
Right.
Mikal Bridges
well,
impressed
he's
me a
not
little
without
bit.
some help, but I mean, they
we're
were
forgetting that
poor.
Aaron Baines hit like 10 threes.
And Aaron Baines
He's
even
good.
stepped up his
So
game.
let me
Like,
ask, what did his stock do before the bubble? He was a scorer, right?
Yeah.
You're
Now,
saying in the
26.
bubble,
I mean,
he's
now-
26
before-
per game
before
score
the bubble,
already.
he-
Every season.
before the bubble, he looked like somebody that needed a point guard. He couldn't function without someone that could distribute the ball. After the bubble, he can distribute the ball to teammates. He can get assists. He put up a couple double-doubles.
He had a point guard. He
He's
had a
not-
pass for
he
the
had
point
Ricky
guard of
Rubio,
Ricky
but
Rubio.
in the
His
bubble-
job was to
In
distribute
the bubble,
the ball.
he was distributing the ball much more. He was the pseudo point guard. He might be a shooting guard on the depth chart, but he was playing point guard on the court. He was getting double doubles, 8 assists. I believe he averaged 6 or 8 assists. He's
Hang on.
gonna score.
If you're gonna argue that it's a one-man team and he's the only player, but then you're also saying his stats are really good, you could put anyone as a one-man.
He rose the whole team up with him with his
Who
distribution.
that? Jimmy Butler?
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. How much of that is attributable to Devin Booker alone?
Jimmy Butler?
Devin Booker 2 seasons ago was still averaging about the same amount of points and still wasn't
But
contributing to
notice
wins.
this, and now
Now he's got some solid.
Now
He
he's
didn't have
a winner.
Aiden, he didn't have Bridges, he didn't have Banks, he didn't have
now-
Ricky Rubio, who's a pass first
Wait,
point
but
guard
now
and knows his
he
role.
performed in games that they needed to win in. So now he can be. He's not a clutch performer yet because he hasn't got the big moments yet. They needed to win all 8 games. He did it. He's become a better passer. He before was just a scorer. He was as one-dimensional as they come. Now he can pass and he can score.
Somebody else look at his numbers. Was his numbers better this year?
They were
or
probably
was it
about the
last
same.
year?
I'm pretty sure
'Cause I
last
think
year.
they're pretty similar.
It's pretty
So
similar.
let's chalk it up to money.
And this man's stock rose the most. Man dropped 73 years
Here's a
ago.
fact. Here's a fact.
What do you mean?
Why
If you
you
take-
take?
if
And
you
they
take-
still lost, by the way.
Why are you
It's
ganging
not
up
good.
on
And a
me?
losing effort.
They
I'm
lost to the
thinking,
Celtics by like 20, even with the 70 points.
Why-
So I wrote in pen. So
Why must
Nate,
we
you
get
got that
away?
argument with
So
Jamal
his
Murray,
stock
but
rose, the Suns'
I
stock
think we
rose,
can
not
really.
Devin Booker.
I think honestly, your subscribers should choose really who they think
I
has,
like that.
has won this. So I'll come up with the scores at the end, but we leave it to the subscribers of who they think won this argument overall. We have 2 more questions to go. All right.
Okay.
I don't know if
Alright.
we'll get through.
Yeah, I don't know either, right? That's
We already
like the
come
second
this
time.
far now.
It's like a presidential debate right now.
Yeah.
Ours is
I'm your
better.
host, Chris Wallace.
You're not Chris Ross.
All right, so let's go.
I just want to say
Yes.
it is unfair to. I'm going 1-on-3 here.
We're not going one.
But everyone's going 1-on-3.
Everyone's going 1-on-3.
Yeah.
This is the whole
Like
point.
that.
If you have the Colts,
Jack, you have a.
You can go walk off set. We'll
right
finish the debate.
So, okay, there's been a lot of talk, with this bubble. The NBA is different than it's ever been. You have no fans, there's no travel, so you don't get those road breaks, those big road trips. A lot of players had a huge break. Some players ate their cheeseburgers, cupcakes, some just worked like Jimmy Butler every single day waiting for the season to reopen. So, with all that in mind, if NBA opens up next season as the NBA that we're used to, who's the favorite for next season? What team do you think?
to
Yeah,
take the chip next year?
team that you predict would win it all next year.
Lakers again. I got Lakers going back to back.
Okay, and why?
All right.
Smart man. but-
LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron James has proven that he can kind of withstand time, right? Like, time does not affect LeBron James. He's still pretty much playing the same way he did in his prime, more or less. Anthony Davis is still in his prime. They've surrounded them with good shooters. I think they could trade Kyle Kuzma. They could get rid of Kuzma.
Yeah, Kuzma's stock also
'Cause
went down the boat.
he could have been a good argument.
Should have been
Yeah.
a third.
They,
I almost
they
said
get
it, but
some-
then I was
they
like,
get a
eh,
few
he's
more
not.
pieces. There's no reason why they can't repeat. I think the Clippers are
well,
probably going to run
except
it
the
back.
fact that
I don't
Anthony
see the
Davis would be
Clippers winning
Chicago
it.
Bulls. Okay.
I don't see any other teams in the West. Maybe Golden State could make a case, but I don't see Golden State beating Anthony Davis and LeBron James personally. I got the Lakers.
Who's that
Okay,
front
so
court
on
going to
who
be
do you
though?
have?
James Wiseman? Maybe not even him. Maybe like Eric Pascal and freaking Marquise Chris. Like you still got Steph. You still got Draymond. You still got. It's just. I'm.
Yeah, that's
they're-
my point. They can't guard.
They might
Davis
make.
and
They
LeBron.
might make a like an 8th seed next year or something. But
Golden
I don't.
State?
Yeah,
I can see Golden State being a top 5 seed.
So-
I can't. Like I gotta see if Curry can stay healthy for
Hey
one.
man, you're
Right,
trying
so
really
who
hard
you
to
got?
lose his vote here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I
gonna
should've said
go
Warriors.
because of how good the Western Conference is. I'm gonna go with an Eastern Conference team because at least my pick is probably guaranteed to make it to the finals.
That's not the question.
I'm going with the Boston Celtics.
What? But then the Nets are healthy next year.
The Celtics.
With their third scorer, Paul George.
This guy.
The Celtics.
Every episode, this guy.
It was between 2 teams. I was gonna. It was between the Mavericks because I wanted a hot take, but I had to go with the Celtics. They've got a young Jason Tatum, a young Jaylen Brown, both on the rise. Jason Tatum could be a top 15-ish player in the league next year.
No.
Jaylen Brown, Jack said is a good number 2 option. I agree with him there. He can be a number 2 option. Kemba Walker, if they can just figure out a way, Brad Stevens is going to come back with as many coaching, with 100 new coaching schemes. They've still got one of the best coaches in the league. And if there's anyone that can figure out how to hide Kemba Walker's size, I do think it is him.
Can I?
If they can get, if they could work out a trade for a good center, I definitely think that puts them at the
A
top.
good center? I thought you said
If
that.
they can
Titans the
get a
man.
Miles-
Matthew,
That's what you said.
As
Miles
also a
Turner.
Celtics fan, I think you're wrong. Because honestly, our team didn't deserve it. They were too inconsistent. They disappointed me more times. And in the clutch, Tatum and Brown just They crumble.
Well, that-
One of them
comes-
has to go.
That comes with age. That comes with experience. They've got age. They've got experience. They're
Okay.
starting to get older. They're starting to get more experience, more time in the playoffs.
But like, what more? They were predicted to maybe even make the finals this year. Like, what can we? Who do we add? Who do we take away? Like, what can really make us that much
and
better
I think too,
championship
like,
wise?
I know, Brad Stevens says that Kemba Walker wasn't the same in the bubble, right? So if you took the NBA season as a traditional NBA season where you don't have that huge break in between, does Boston maybe have a better chance in the playoffs?
Maybe.
Maybe.
There's a lot of like,
But every team's at the same.
I think you could argue it doesn't
disadvantage, so I don't-
because
it's
Jason
not like
Tatum and
specific
Jaylen Brown
for
don't
us.
get that time off where they can work on their game some more.
Yeah.
Because especially Jaylen Brown, I thought he was better in the bubble than he was in the regular season.
Yeah. And some teams, the older teams, might have been better that they took the break.
And the
that
Celtics-
they have time to like rest and recuperate and then make that final push.
So one thing I didn't think to play a factor too is like you didn't mention when like all these you didn't mention jet lag. We ain't got to worry about jet lag
Oh,
from
yeah.
constant travel over these playoffs. So
Yeah.
that also is a big factor. That helps a
And
lot
also,
too.
like when you have your away and your home games, I mean, really, it's pretty neutral in the
Yeah.
bubble. Whereas you go in somebody's house, the fan,
The feel is different. It's louder. It's
Yeah.
more pumped, and it's a little more intimidating for me to go to Miami than playing in Orlando.
Well, who
To
you
go
got?
to- I got the Brooklyn Nets. I'm pretty sold on the Brooklyn Nets next season, especially if they add that third piece and Paul George, Bradley Beal, Drew, whoever they add. I'm pretty sold on that Kyrie KD combo. It makes the most sense. It'll probably be the conference finals. Will probably end up being like Miami and Brooklyn, maybe Boston and Brooklyn. It'll be an entertaining series no matter what. But I'm super sold. I think the Nets have enough star power, and if they somehow manage to keep, I don't know if you can if you trade for Paul George, you keep a solid player like Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, who all take giant steps. I think that's a pretty good team. It's pretty good depth.
Okay.
So I'm sold on the Brooklyn Nets.
And who do you have, Stretch?
Lakers.
Okay.
Lakers
So-
Nets next year are predicting it.
Yeah, and check the
I will
narrative.
say
That's
one
what I was gonna say. Check the narrative. Like you have LeBron in
Versus
his
Kyrie.
18th NBA season with the rising young GOAT AD against
Oh, that
KD
is a
and Kyrie,
baby.
against Kyrie's former teammate and his
Or
Nemesis,
or
KD.
if the Lakers win, or when the Lakers win.
What
So both
a
be
narrative.
Lakers Celtics, both 18 titles. Whoever wins has
I'm taking
19.
Wait, the Celtics have 17 titles.
No, they're tied. Lakers are 18, Celtics 17. Lakers,
No, Celtics
No,
are.
the Lakers have
Or
Lakers
Lakers
have-
it's 17, 16.
When they
yeah.
win tonight, it'll be tied.
Yeah. So I'm saying next
and then
year.
we'll go ahead next year.
Don't you dare! You can't
We'll
take
go
it from
ahead
us.
next
You
year.
can't take it from us. Like
Go,
it's Brad
James
That's
is
another-
in the house.
That's another narrative you could look for. Whoever wins next year, if it's the Celtics and the Lakers, has the most championships all
No,
time.
better narrative.
All right.
LeBron kicks KD butt. That's your man.
Or Kyrie gets the satisfaction, his jealous butt of
Yeah,
beating
right,
LeBron
right.
and taking the ring away. Like,
Is Kyrie even a human at this point?
He's horrible.
Kyrie's just a horrible leader. He's just
Kyrie Irving
he's
is
an
just
amazing second option. He needs to just be an amazing second
I
option
feel like
to a
I'd be very
superstar
uncomfortable
player.
hanging out with Kyrie Irving.
So Vegas, I'll go with Vegas on this one. They predict the Lakers. They're
That's the correct answer.
That's the correct answer. And Jack, since you said it first, I'm gonna give you 4. I'm gonna give Stretch 3 just because you
Because he
said
copied my
I'm
answer.
the Laker fan on the panel. I'm the guy. The Go James.
Go
Alright.
James.
Go James.
Oh, it comes down.
I need to bring in this last one.
This is unbelible. Check this out.
What are
All
the
right,
scores are
Stretch.
pretty close, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they
Stretch
got
14. Swanee, Nate, Jack, 3-way tie for 13.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right, so it really comes down to this final
So he's
question.
gonna vote him out.
I mean,
Winner
whoever
take all.
wins this, winner take all.
Okay,
Whoever
guys,
wins this final
How
question.
about so
It's crunch
let's
time,
who do
baby.
we want to be our representative? Because then whoever is our representative, Jack and I will both have terrible arguments. We'll get to vote who goes out. We vote Stretch. Nate wins.
Hey, you're
And
selling
then-
us short.
Hey, we gotta sacrifice 2 of us. I vote we sacrifice you two because I'm the founder. But yeah.
What do you have veto? Because you're the.
Look, man, let's just do this fairly and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll just see who has the
Everyone's got a shot, man. Let's do this. What's this last
Alright.
question?
Here we go. So
Can
last
Coach Z be in,
question.
can Coach Z be in it? And if he wins, he gets 15 points.
16. Take the
What a
sweep.
comeback victory.
What a comeback.
From behind.
So last question is the face of the league. So we're gonna look 5 years from now. 2025 is the year. LeBron is still playing. Don't worry. But he may not be the same as he once was. So we had Magic, we had Bird, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. Who is next? Who is selling jerseys? Who is the face
Oh,
of
that's- to
commercials?
me, that's
Whoever gets the first answer is gonna win this one.
Yeah, because
Ooh,
everyone's
okay.
thinking the same play.
Are we?
Yes,
Are you?
absolutely. We're all
Are you?
thinking the
Are
same.
we?
I
So
think
do you
so.
want to do it fair with rock, paper, scissors? Do you want to?
Let's do rock paper scissors. I don't care.
How do you rock paper
Or
scissors?
since
Pick
Matthew
a
got
number
three
1 through 10
questions-
wall.
since
Guess.
Matthew
How about
got
rock
three
paper
questions.
scissors?
Good. All right. I got it. Pick a number 1 through 10.
Oh no.
Closest to.
I think your favorite number is 7.
That's
so-
not my favorite number.
Thank you.
3.
5.
You said 5?
We're equidistant from some numbers, I think.
God dang it, man. You're the tech guy, man. I'm going 1. I'll go 1.
All right, it was 5.
Oh,
Yes! Yes!
5's my
Okay.
favorite
I was-
number.
That is
Luka
the first-
Doncic.
wait.
Dang it! Luka! It's gotta be Luka.
Oh,
he's
it's
going into his
overcome.
3rd year. The man's averaging nearly 30 points a game. He's averaging he's flirting with the triple double. Averaging what, 38 and 8.
Yeah.
This man is only going to get better as his jump shot develops, as his defense develops, which is something that typically comes with age. You see young players, they don't play great defense
It's over.
early. They develop defense later in their career with good mentorship, good coaching, and more experience. Once he's a veteran player, it is over. Once guys like LeBron are out of their prime, even guys like Anthony Davis and Giannis are aging, he's still going to be younger. He's still 2, 3, 4, even 5 years younger than some of those guys. Luka, absolutely the next face.
I think I can
no
take a
question.
Okay. Yeah. Don't.
Oh,
Hey,
that's
don't.
so-
Don't.
What you got? What you got, man? What you got, bro?
Wait. You were closest.
Yeah, I had 7.
Okay. And
Crazy.
then,
All
I mean,
4
part-
fucking exact
Oh,
same
of course
thing.
everyone-
Part of being face of the league
yeah.
is having the media want you to be face of the league.
Absolutely.
Zion Williamson is a rookie and he's already on the cover of 2K. Luka has not accomplished that yet. I mean, face of the league isn't made in your first year, but the league wants Zion to be
Zion's
number
played
1.
half a season.
Zion's
my
more
man.
injury prone than Luka. What happens if Zion blows his
They
knee out?
benched
What
him
happens
in
if
big
his
time.
athleticism?
They benched
Luka's
him in
more
big time
long-term.
ball minutes,
But
bro.
let's think
That's
he's played half
I'm
a
listening
year,
to what you baby.
and the NBA already wanted him. After half a year, we're convinced, okay, let's give the Pelicans the easiest schedule. Can we please get Lakers Pelicans 1-8?
Right.
After half a year,
Right.
give him 4.5 or 5 more years. Even if he isn't the first or second or third best player in the league, his Duke highlights, his high school highlights are going to live with him forever.
Right.
The media is going to want him to be the next LeBron. I mean, they've wanted him to be the next LeBron since high school, since
Hear me
Duke.
out, bro.
He's supposed to be the second
I
coming.
have something to say too.
And
You
Alright.
actually both have a chance.
I know, but hear me out. I've been saying this since Zion was still like in college. Zion is not gonna be. He's gonna be the next. I don't know if y'all know. He's gonna be the next Larry Johnson, man. Same build,
Even-
same
I
skill
say
set,
Sean
but
Kemp.
cannot stay healthy because of
Even
his
if
weight.
he
Hang
is,
on,
he
hang
will
on.
always have the highlights.
All right, but you were talking about the media narrative. They want Zion to be the next face of the league. You know who fit that exact description? Lonzo Ball. And who is talking about Lonzo Ball right now?
He was-
Lonzo Ball was the most hyped player in
He's-
that draft.
he was
Everyone
hyped.
was talking about hyping up to be the next Steph.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely people were.
No.
I feel like more people
Absolutely
talking about
they
Markel
were.
Fultz.
If you
Markel
get-
Fultz.
that-
No, nobody hyped up
If-
Fultz the way they did with Lonzo.
if-
Lonzo was a
if-
bust.
Jack, if Stretch is Lonzo Ball's dad, he's probably not the second pick in the draft.
Okay, the fact is, Lonzo Ball was hyped. Overhyped.
But Zion
That's-
Williamson built the hype by himself. He didn't have a whole media team. He didn't have Big Baller Brain to do it for him.
Big
He
Ball
built
Brand is
the
not
hype.
successful. No one wants to buy their stuff.
But everybody knows. Every
People
basketball
did
fan
for a
knows
minute,
what
though.
Big
Yeah.
Baller
I mean,
Brain
sure,
is.
if you want to argue that,
people, but
You know Zion.
if you want to
because
argue that
of
for high
Zion.
school, but then he went to Duke.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
you
No,
know
like,
every Duke
of all
player.
those
Duke's
dudes,
like one of the
that's
biggest
like-
colleges for basketball.
That's like
Yeah,
that's like
exactly. To continue
Patrick
to hold
Mahomes.
his face of the league.
I can see that.
I mean,
So how do you? So did
Honestly.
he get himself popular, or did Duke get him
Yeah,
popular?
hear me out. That's
He
like
was
Patrick
popular in
Mahomes.
high
That's like
school.
Patrick Mahomes being discovered in high school and was like, let me go play at Alabama real quick under Nick Saban, and the team's already won 6 fun. Like a lot of it had to do with him playing at Duke
Exactly,
with Cam Reddish
exactly.
and RJ
It's
Barrett.
not a situation.
I don't think
He was
if we
already-
didn't have that rule to go to college for a year, he'd have went straight to the NBA.
And he would have
Yeah,
still
I
been the
mean,
number one pick.
He'd have
And
went
if
straight
he
to
would
the
have
NBA.
played with UNC Chapel Hill,
Yeah, it wouldn't
he
matter.
would have still been Zion
Yeah.
because he
I
was
mean,
so
I mean, look at John Morant. He went to a small
I'm not
school,
sure
and
that
his
Zion
highlights
would've
were
been
still
Zion.
on ESPN Top 10 every night.
Right.
Zion Williamson, his electrifying. Luka's electrifying, but he can't do a 360 windmill like Zion, and that's
Zion
what the
can hit
fans
step back
want.
threes like Luka.
That's
Did
what
you
the
see
fans.
that one
It's a
playoff
3-point lead,
game
man. It's a
against-
3-point lead. We
against
don't even
Denver?
listen to Stretch's
What?
tape.
With
We're
Luka?
amazing stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
It's the same.
Coach, we still got you. You guys don't give up so
And
easy.
Nate- Nate-
I'm
Nate-
actually gonna go with a different direction. I'm going with the the NBA
Joseph
usually
LeBron.
loves point guards, man. So I'm gonna go with Ja Morant actually. So in the next 5 years,
that.
what that young Corey has, with him being the leader, and potentially he could be averaging well into the high 20s, and he has the game to get a double-figure assist total as well, and average these things year in and year out. Not to mention he is, as young as he was this year, he was a pretty scrappy defender. He was, I want to say he was top 20 in steals, somewhere around there. Just check me on that. But he might have been like top 20 in steals. But
Yep, you're right.
yeah. But what I'm saying is,
Wait, give me
the
this time.
NBA loves point guards. They love point guards.
They
And
even made LeBron James a point guard. Just
right,
made
that's
them
what I'm
love
saying.
him
They
even more.
love point guards. So the next best point guard is John Morant.
I will say, the one thing besides like with the marketability, you have to play in, if you're not going to be like a LeBron where any city is marketable.
Mhm.
John Morant, as good as he may become, I don't know if Memphis is ever marketable enough where you can say the best player in the league, the face of the league, plays where? Oh, Memphis. He plays in
I
Memphis.
don't watch hockey.
Yeah. I mean,
John Morant.
unless you're LeBron made Cleveland, but you have to be LeBron to make a small city like that popular. I mean, Kevin Durant, he was really good with OKC, but he was a small market guy. I'm not saying he was better than LeBron, but he would never have been
They
the face.
loved KD and
But he
OKC.
was
They
never-
loved him to the point
but
that
he
he
was
was on
never
TV
he wasn't
all
face
the
of the
time.
league.
He's never going to be the face of the league because LeBron is
But
playing.
this isn't what the argument's about, Stretch. I'm
He's
He's
just,
the
never
face
be the
of
face
league
of-
5 years.
But the
from now.
closest KD got to me in face of the league was when he played with Golden State.
But
That's
he
where
wasn't even face.
because
It
he
was
wasn't.
Steph
He
Curry.
wasn't.
It
But
was
he was.
Steph Curry.
It was Steph. No, well, KD
Steph
was the better
Curry.
player when they played
No,
together.
no,
He was the face. We're talking about who's the face.
I understand what Jack is saying though, because he
I'm
was
saying the
on,
closest KD's
yeah.
gotten to being
Okay.
in
When
his
he was
face.
in
I'm not
the-
saying he
No,
was.
no, I'm not. He wasn't even nowhere close
you
to
can
being the
mark
face of
it-
the NBA because most
He
of
was
the
closer to
NBA
what
fans
he
didn't
said.
like that he went there.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but when they were winning, people were bandwagoning to Golden State.
No, they love Golden State. They love Steph Curry.
Let me say this.
They love
Golden State
Steph
fans
Curry.
love KD too.
You can market New Orleans,
love
you can market
championships.
Zion.
Yeah.
Zion's already got the Jordans to his name as well. I mean, you can.
First of all, no one buys those.
He's got
things.
everything going for
Those
him.
retros are
You know
not
what?
there.
I have a
No one
whole
buys
other
those
point.
Jordans.
Yeah, we have to
What do you-
listen to
the
it.
shoes?
Who you got, big dog?
Yeah, who you got?
Y'all took all mine, but I guess like
What about
I'm gonna go
Jamal
Bronny
Murray?
James.
that's the only guy I got left.
Bronny
It's like,
James in the
I
house.
think I can make a case for Jamal Murray a little bit. Did you say Bronny?
Bronny.
Ronnie.
Isn't Bronny? What is Bronny? A sophomore in high school,
Sophomore.
right?
He's like me and Matthew's age.
Oh, is he
Yeah,
really?
what do you guys do with your life?
I don't know. I agree with Stretch. Hey, 100% leagues is point guards. We love point guards. The only person I can really make an argument for now is Jamal Murray. I mean, and this is on the grounds that Jamal Murray comes out and for the next rest of his career plays the exact same.
Okay.
All right, I have one more point I'd like to make. Okay, the NBA is an increasingly global league.
Absolutely.
Out of the four guys you mentioned, who is most likely to appeal to foreign fans?
I mean, Luka.
Luka, obviously. Luka.
We
could
all
be
would have
a
picked
global
Luka.
face.
Said no third.
I know, but I said it.
And I went last week just going down the line, man. Like,
I tell you what, any of these guys maybe have the potential to be the face of the NBA. Who has the potential to be the face of global
You
basketball?
know who else is global?
A guy like Luka
You know what
Doncic
else
who
is
plays in
global?
American basketball, the biggest league in the NBA, but who's played in Europe and who is more marketable. to
But
foreign
you know what
fans.
else is
Yeah, but you
global?
also have
ESPN.
LeBron and
Zion
Kobe and
Williamson.
Michael Jordan. They appealed globally.
Sure, they did,
even
but-
though they.
Kobe's
They
European,
did, but-
Kobe's Italian.
But imagine if Kobe had come out of Europe or come out of Asia or some other, he'd be marketing even more to those fans as well as the fans here.
He only went to high school in Philly. Other than that, he was in Europe.
He was in Italy.
Yeah,
I mean,
Italy.
ESPN reaches a lot of different countries, and Zion Williamson is going to be.
Basketball is a
lot
global
more
sport at this point.
than
Any of
Zion-
these
than
players.
Luka.
I see what your
All
point
right,
you're
so
trying
my
to make,
final
but like,
two, I'm gonna go with Zion and Luca. I'm gonna let Stretch and Nate. Who do you guys have? I'll be the tiebreaker if we need to.
I gotta go Luka. Luka is it's gotta be. I'm sorry, Swan.
Think of
I'm sorry.
argument, not
If-
player. I made
okay.
this competitive with Zion.
Okay, I will agree with you that the casual fan loves highlights. The casual fan who doesn't watch the ins and outs, they just look at ESPN, top 10, and Zion will live there.
Yep.
That is where he will live. At the end of the day, he might average 12 points a game, but he's going to live on ESPN's top 10. So for that factor alone,
He's going Zion. We need a tiebreaker.
All right, so tiebreaker. I think it's going to be. I'm gonna have to go with the best playoff game I've seen this playoffs was Luka Doncic.
Yes!
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
All losing our spots in the
That was
debate.
the most amazing
we are all
game I
fired.
have ever seen.
To argue for my point, Zion is clearly worse than Luka Doncic, and I made that a close argument, which is why I think I should get the point.
But who gets
you
the
did it.
closest number out of 1 and 10? Who guessed
You
it?
took my favorite number. Everyone
Luck-
knows
Luck
my
was
number.
on
Whoever, Luck was on my side. Whoever would have, you gotta go with the median
He
number.
took-
It's the
he
closest to all the other
He
numbers.
took a question from me. He got
Who was
one.
the second
He took the
one?
last question from me. I was supposed to get the last question. He took that. Now he's gonna take the win. I don't think it's fair.
Oops, we accidentally didn't set this up in Matthew's favor.
Yeah, so Ultimate Human Genius of the second annual edition of Debate Mates is Jack.
Yes.
Congrats, buddy.
My man.
Good job.
Good job, guys.
Oh my god, that was fun. Good job, bro.
Remember when people said that LeBron James 3-1 comeback was the greatest comeback in all sports history? Remember when people said that? They'll have their mouths shut now.
Oh, wait, what?
I don't know.
The Ducks some points.
I'll still argue that that's
This
one of the
guy.
greatest things ever in basketball.
Which one?
LeBron's 3-1 comeback over
yeah.
the Warriors in 2016.
Hey, I'll take second
Kidding me?
place.
Are you going through the sideline?
Oh yeah. So thank you guys. It's been a great ride. 2 years. We're excited for 2 more. And
Possibly 3.
Why only 2 more?
well, I mean,
Multiple,
there's
man.
many more. Shout out to me, the real winner of this debate,
Okay.
because I have the greatest co-host in the world.
Hey,
There you go.
say in the
Well,
comments.
I would like to
if
share
y'all
my win
disagree,
with everyone except Matthew.
share in the comments who you thought should have won. If you disagree with Jack, our champion here.
And Coach Z, thank you for moderating.
Give
You
us a
did a great
thumbs up
job.
and vote Swanberg.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Debate mates. Till next time. Debate mates.
Bye, guys.
Strong.
Let's go.